My peoples, my peoples, welcome to another episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. Y'all know what we doing, man. We talking boxing, and I wanted to come outside real quick, 'cause I always tell you guys, no matter the weather, no matter if it's cold, if it's hot, if it's rainy, snowy, freezing, burning, it's always a beautiful day. God gave us another day, my peoples. Yes, sir. Thank you, God. Look, right now. Look at this. Look. Cloudy, rainy, cold. Well, cold for tropical island standards. Not really cold. Probably I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 70 degrees or some shit like that. It's not really cold. But my point is, I still feel like this is a beautiful day because I'm up, I'm breathing, and we're gonna be talking boxing, y'all. It really don't get no better. It really doesn't, my people. What a beautiful morning. What a beautiful day to be a fan of boxing. And we got a lot to talk about in this episode of Boxing for Breakfast. Franchise in the building. Salute, family. Bam! Fellas, listen. I gotta tell you, man. Um, it's very interesting the way that situations play out in boxing. And we have, a lot of things to talk about. We're going to be talking about the following. Check this out. Shakur Stevenson stripped of his IBF title, of his WBC title by Mauricio the Goofball Sulaiman. Devin Haney, he says he wants to fight Keyshawn Davis and then Shakur Stevenson. Is that going to happen? He wants both of them. Conor Benn, he's putting a condition on a rehydration clause to fight Shakur Stevenson. Teofimo Lopez, we know what he went through in that last fight. He got beat up, and he's talking about already moving to the welterweight division. Rayo Valenzuela, we haven't really given him no love after his debut in Zuffa boxing. We got to talk about that, my people. He put hands and feet on his opponent, walked out of there with the dub. So a lot of interesting topics of conversation for us to get it popping today. And listen, like I said, love. And I wanted to talk about it because the one thing I could tell you guys, I've always believed in Rayo Valenzuela. I always told people, yo, listen, this kid is going to become a champion. I remember when he was maybe 9-0, something like that, and he was a PBC fighter. And I said to a lot of people, yo, Rayo Valenzuela is going to become a world champion. I promise you. And there was people even laughing at me like, nah, man, you a fan. You don't know what you're talking about. Rayo Valenzuela ain't going to be no champion. And I was like, bro, listen to me. This dude can fight. He can fight. And even when he was going to fight Pitbull Cruz, a lot of people went against him. A lot of people was like, nah, man, this guy's not it. And guess what? Jay Stradamus predicted that Rayo Valenzuela was going to beat Pitbull Cruz, and that's what he did. So we got to give him his love. We got to give him his credit. Now he's on to Zuffa boxing and made his debut with a W. Got that dub. Toy Mafia, salute family. Bam! So salute to Rayo Valenzuela. I'm looking forward to see what he's going to do next. Is he going to become a world champion on Zuffa boxing? Who is he going to face? But one thing about Rayo, man, is that he's always exciting to watch. Every time he step in the ring, you guys know Rayo's about that smoke. Joe Jacket, salute family, out booger. What's the deal? Rayo Valenzuela is one of those fighters who there's no such thing as a boring Rayo fight. Every time he step in the ring, you know that it's going to be fireworks. You know that he's going to be trading some serious leather with his opponents. And that's something that the, boxing fans love to see it. We enjoy that style of boxing. So salute to Rayo Valenzuela. Now, let's get to this, my peoples, because I know this is super recent news. You know, we just found out about it. Our booger, salute family. Bam. So Shakur Stevenson has been stripped by the WBC. Mauricio the goofball Sulaiman strikes again with his goofballery. Now, we already know what he did to Terrence Crawford, right? We already know how he stripped Bud because he won at $300,000. I want you to think about this, my peoples. When Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez fought, the WBC title was not on the line. Teofimo is not a WBC or was not a WBC champion. Why does Mauricio the goofball Sulaiman want Shakur Stevenson to pay $100,000 to keep his title when the WBC wasn't even on the line? MS, salute, my brother. He didn't even fight for the WBC. And in his last fight versus William Zepeda, the #1 contender, Shakur paid his sanctioning fee. Paid him. Now he's fighting somebody else at 140, and you want more money when your title's not even on the line? What are you doing? You see what greed does? So Mauricio Sulaiman, #1, he got beef with Shakur because Shakur is with Crawford. So he just couldn't wait to pull a funny move. And he did. Now, I want to point something out, my peoples. And I want you guys to tell me your take on this. How come when Canelo Alvarez had David Benavidez as his mandatory, he gave Benavidez that bullshit interim title? Why? Why you gave Benavidez an interim and never forced Canelo to make that fight? Explain that to me. So now Shakur Stevenson just won. He just won at 140. And you, bam, stripped him right away. Days, like a couple of days, and you couldn't wait to take that belt from him. How come you couldn't take somebody else in that division and make him an interim champion like you did with Benavidez when you was protecting Canelo? Explain that to me. So like I've been telling y'all, man, Mauricio the goofball Sulaiman is like, this dude is the definition of a corrupt piece of shit. That's the only way that I could describe this dude. A corrupt, greedy piece of shit. That's what the guy is. So let's not... Hold on, my people. My people, my bad. I was having some technical difficulties over here. Clifton Denner, what's wrong with the video? Salute, family. Marie, I think soon nobody wants even fight for the WBC belt. The WBC belt is trash. The WBC belt, if you really think about it, is going to turn into a trinket. It's going to turn into something nobody give a damn about. Right? It's only a matter of time. I'm telling you. Everybody's starting to understand that Mauricio the goofball Sulaiman is a piece of shit. Corrupt, greedy, and just does whatever he wants in reality. He makes sure that he keeps the right people. You know, he wants certain people to have the titles. And he doesn't want others to have them. That's just the reality. I love you. Like this dude is the definition of a greedy piece of shit. Think about it. That's why I asked you. That's why I asked you guys, how come when Canelo Alvarez had David Benavidez as his mandatory, David Benavidez got an interim title and Canelo didn't have to fight him? Canelo never had to step in the ring with David Benavidez. Mauricio, the piece of shit goofball Sulaiman, never forced that fight, never stripped Canelo, never told him this is what you gotta do. But Terence Crawford, bang, you get stripped. Shakur Stevenson, bang, you get stripped. The WBC title wasn't even on the line for this fight. Why you want more money for? Think about it, my peoples. Shakur defended against the #1 contender in William Zepeda. And he paid the sanctioning fee. So if you pay your sanctioning fee to defend your title, why when you go to 140 to grab a belt, you strip them ASAP and you wanted $100,000 for him to keep it? This is the definition of a greedy piece of shit. Franchise, Mike Tyson talked about this also. Greedy, Al Booger, greedy thug, 1,000. Marie, I think soon nobody wants even fight for the WBC belt. And that's where they headed. That's where they headed. You know why? Because fighters are going to get to a point where they're going to say, man, this dude think that he the one that make the champions. Nah, it's the champions that make the belts. Don't never forget that, my peoples. And I told you that a long time ago. All it takes is for fighters to say, you know what? Fuck that belt. I'm going to fight for this one. And when you have all the champions fighting for this one and saying, F that belt, it's going to turn into a trinket. When the best names don't give a damn about that belt anymore, it's going to be a piece of shit trinket. And that's when Mauricio Sulaiman is going to understand, you're not bigger than the fighters. Your belt is not bigger than the fighters. But he don't realize that. He think, oh, we got the prestige. And because look at the tradition and all of this. Yo, that shit disappears like that, my people. Just like that, bang. You got Shakur Stevenson, guess what? He's going to be the face of boxing. Shakur Stevenson going to be the face of boxing. And he's already saying F the WBC. Every fighter who left to zoo for boxing has already said F the WBC. So you're going to see them go down, my people. I promise you. You're going to see the B-level guys fighting for that strap. Because the top-level guys going to be like, F that shit. Leave that shit to them dudes coming up, the young kids coming up, need a title. Leave it for them. But eventually, that shit going to be a trinket. Remember, I told you this. Franchise, that happened to the NABC. Clifton Dennis, he didn't make Canelo drop the belt because Canelo paid the fees and made him a lot of money every fight. That's the thing. Canelo Alvarez, being the cash cow, every time he fights, he gives the WBC a nice chunk of money that they happy with, that they like. So they want Canelo to be the WBC world champion no matter what. Right now, I think we are going to get Canelo versus Billy for that WBC belt. Yo, if Mauricio Sulaiman could just grab the belt and just say, look, you don't got to fight here. It's yours. Bang, and just give it to him. He would do that. He would do exactly that. George Atkin, this is why Turkey is chasing the landscape of boxing. Changing the landscape of boxing, of course. You're going to see, we're already seeing a lot of young talent, more than what we expected, going to zoo for boxing. We already see, obviously, Jairo Pataya, the biggest name they got so far. Rayo Valenzuela is already over there. Edwin De Los Santos is already over there. And there's a lot of young fighters. A lot of young fighters, a lot of undefeated talent that's going over to zoo for boxing. Anytime you see somebody going to zoo for boxing, guess what? They're like, F the WBC. I don't give a damn about that shit. So that used to be a prestigious belt, a prestigious title to have. But when you start seeing more people saying F them, eventually what you think is going to happen? It's going to be a trinket. Nobody going to give a damn about that belt. The best fighters in the world are not going to fight for that strap. And then what? All he's going to have left is, we got history. Back in the day, the best fought for this one. Yeah, that's back in the day, homie. In the present and the future, they're going to be like, F that belt. Mauricio Sulaiman, piece of shit. We don't need him. Al Booger. Zuffa is going to be regular belt. And the ring is going to be number 1 in the division. The man, woman of the division. Well, it looks like Zuffa boxing is going to allow fighters to fight for the other titles. Because they already said something along those lines when it comes to Jai Opataya. Franchise, the ring belt is free. You see? That's a real title. There's no corruption behind it. And here's the interesting part. And I'm telling you, this is for me. I'm telling you for me. I don't know for you, but for me. If you capture the IBF, the WBO, the WBA, and then you capture Ring, the Ring magazine belt, to me, you're undisputed. That's it. In my personal opinion, for Box Center, we don't need you to hold the WBC to be undisputed. That's a trinket now. That's a trinket. That's some shit that you pay money for and you get an opportunity because you pay money for it. That's a corrupt piece of shit belt now. So if you got the other 3 and the ring, you're undisputed now. Jay Smith told you that, remember. Marie, the ring belt is more worthy. It's $200,000 belt. Just to the golf. Just the gold. Oh, the gold on it. And it's free. Listen, the Ring magazine belt is legit. Because you know to get that belt, you have to fight the best. You have to fight the top dog. But I ask you the magic question once again. How come when Canelo Alvarez had that title and David Benavidez was his mandatory, why Mauricio the goofball Sulaiman gave Benavidez an interim belt? And didn't force the action, didn't strip Canelo, didn't say you gotta fight him. That's how you use your corruption tactics. If you don't want your champion to have to fight the big dog, you give the big dog an interim title. Here's an interim title, you got this. But we're not gonna force the big dog to fight you. What are we talking about? So for Canelo Alvarez, he don't gotta fight the best. He don't gotta defend. But other guys, Shakur Stevenson didn't even fight for a WBC strap. The WBC strap wasn't on the line at 140. Why are you asking for $100,000 so he could keep his belt? What are we doing? So now you have Shakur Stevenson, one of the most famous boxer, one of the guys with the biggest win in 2026, gets stripped because you wanted $100,000. Pedro Gonzalez, some blackball type of thing. Listen, man, Mauricio Sulaiman is going to be the one to get blackballed by the fighters. When the fighters start saying, yo, F the WBC title, some of them is already saying it. At some point, nobody going to give a damn about that belt. He going to be blackballed. The Book of Tobit, because they glaze the fighters who make the biggest paydays. No, let me clarify that for you, my brother. They glaze the Mexican fighters who make the biggest paydays. That's what they glaze. Because Terrence Crawford was making pretty big paydays recently. They wasn't glazing him. Mauricio Sulaiman don't like black fighters. He don't like black folks. He's good at playing it off, but let me just keep it real with you. Usually when you see Mauricio stripping somebody, they black. I don't know. I don't think that's a coincidence. And they usually, when it's the Mexican dude who need to fight the Mexican monster, give the Mexican monster an interim title. And he don't got to fight Canelo. Canelo don't got to fight him. Oh, well, let me make a franchise belt for Canelo. So Canelo don't have to fight his mandatories. There is no mandatory. Now you guys tell me, where's the franchise belt? Who got the franchise belt these days? Do you know? Is there even a franchise belt in any division at this point? Ah, you only made the franchise belt for Canelo Alvarez and Vasil Lomachenko. When Devin Haney was the mandatory for Vasil Lomachenko, you gave Lomachenko a franchise belt. And he didn't have to fight Devin Haney. Come on, my peoples. Mauricio Sulaiman is the definition of a corrupt piece of shit. And that's why I'm telling you, that sanctioning body is going to go downhill. It's going to take a stumble. I promise you. When you see the best of the best saying, F your title, you could keep that shit. You ain't going to be robbing me. Eventually, everybody's going to start doing it. And what you're going to end up seeing is the B-level fighters fighting for that title. The guys coming up. Yep, wait for me right there. I'll bring it. The guys coming up, they'll be the guys who are going to be fighting for that trash. Joe Jack in the protection belt, the franchise belt. Yo, that is the most embarrassing, disrespectful, corrupt bullshit that he could ever come up with. Yeah, let me give you a franchise belt, and now you don't have to fight the mandatories. Lomachenko, you don't want to fight Devin Haney? Yeah, we don't want this black dude to have the belt anyways. We're going to give you a franchise belt. Take this franchise belt. Take this franchise belt, and you don't got to fight him. Canelo, you don't have to fight Benavidez. We're not going to make you take that fight. We know you don't want to fight him. We don't want you to get knocked out by the Mexican monster. So what we're going to do for you, we're going to make you a franchise belt. And with your franchise belt, you don't got to fight nobody. You can fight whoever you want. What a piece of shit. Dude is a literal piece of shit, bro. And y'all got to excuse me for my honesty, but I call it how I see it. Y'all know I always call it how I see it. Marie, I never heard that happen with the other sanctioning bodies. How come? Because the other sanctioning bodies, at least, they're not out there straight up trying to rob people. They're not out there trying to do whatever they want. They're out there following the rules for everybody. That's why I love the IBF. The IBF mad strict with it. But they straight with everybody. If the IBF tell you gotta defend, and you don't defend, you get stripped. But they do that shit to everybody. The WBC, some people gotta defend, and some people get a franchise belt. And like I told you guys, how come Mauricio the goofball Sulaiman, when Benavidez was the mandatory for Canelo, he gave him an interim belt? Fuck you mean an interim belt? Skip a clip, a salute, my brother. Bam! My peoples, hit that like button. There's no ghost watching in 2026. Why did he give Benavidez an interim belt and never made him mandatory, never mandated the fight? Explain that to me. So I'm the one to tell you, my peoples. Jay Smith is the first one to tell you this. And for Box Center, this is what I'm recognizing. If you got the WBO, the WBA, the IBF, and the Ring Magazine belt, you undisputed. From now on, I personally don't need you to have a WBC trinket to be undisputed. That shit is trash. We already corrupt pieces of shit doing whatever they want, giving titles to whoever they want. Strip Terrence Crawford, what they do, put it available for Billy and Canelo to fight for it. Oh, yes, we want to get Canelo this title ASAP. We already know how you move it, Mauricio, the goofball Sulaiman, you piece of shit. So, I myself don't need nobody to have your piece of shit ass belt so I could say that they are undisputed world champion. Okay? You don't need that belt no more. Fighters, you don't need that belt no more. You undisputed. If you got the other three and you got the ring, you undisputed, family. You got that. That's how I'm seeing it from here on out. Our book, IBF is good. WBO is pretty good too. And the WBA is just the WBC pieces of shit. Marie, the IBF the best because they also don't allow weight bullies fight for their belt. And the thing about the IBF is that they're strict, but they're strict with everybody. They don't go around making exceptions. The IBF don't have a champion that they say, oh, you don't got to fight them. We made this special belt for you. We made this franchise belt. Who the fuck else has ever made a franchise belt, bro? A franchise belt? And they only did it for Canelo and Lomachenko? Now, you guys tell me, where the hell is that franchise belt? Can any of you tell me? Where is it? Who has it? And in what division? Ramirez, hold up, Smith. We can't do that. I know you a Shakur fan, but still, bro, you can't say he undisputed. Ramirez, you confused, family. When did I say Shakur was undisputed? You confused, Ramirez. I know you got that hate for Shakur Stevenson. Nobody said that Shakur was undisputed. Like, you making shit up out of thin air, fam, wham. Ain't nobody say that. I'm telling you that me, myself, I no longer recognize that somebody need the WBC title to be undisputed. If you got the other three and the Ring magazine, Shakur doesn't have the other three, fam. Slow down. Slow down on the Shakur hate. If you have the other three and the Ring, to me, you're undisputed. Simple as that. Shakur doesn't have the other three. I don't know why you brought him up to say that I'm a fan. That's a good one, Ramirez, but slow down. Slow down. Clifton Dennis, nobody liked that rehydration rule. But all you guys have to consider is, and that's why I'll bring it back, why exactly or when exactly does Mauricio Sulaiman decide that somebody's going to get an interim belt and thus the champion don't got to fight that mandatory? He could sit there with his little interim belt. Huh? So the guy that was at 135 right now, remember, Shakur beat the #1 contender in William Zepeda. That was 7 months ago, or 6, whatever it was. #1 contender to win the title. How come the next guy up couldn't get an interim belt like Benavidez and then let Shakur keep his title? Benavidez got an interim belt. Canelo got to keep the main title. Benavidez was never made the mandatory. Canelo was never stripped. How come? I'm not understanding that. I'm trying to figure out, when do you decide that they get a franchise belt, the other guy get an interim title, and then when do you decide I'm going to strip you? I'm not understanding that. Franchise. Floyd wasn't undisputed either, so there's a lot of fighters who wasn't undisputed. Manny Pacquiao wasn't undisputed either. Al Booker. It's always the same last names with these dudes. Yeah, it do be. With them arguments, yeah. I'm going to have to give it to you on that, Al Booker. So, let's segue into this beauty right here, my peoples. Devin Haney says that he wants to fight. Shakur Stevenson is the biggest fight in boxing, but he want to take on Keyshawn Davis first. Remember, we've been talking about Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson for how long? Ever since Devin Haney ducked at 135 division. And Shakur Stevenson haters try to spin it and make it look like it was Shakur that ducked. And I debunked that logic so many times for so many people to show that Devin Haney ducked. But you guys know about the Shakur hate. You guys know how much people hate Shakur Stevenson. How much they want to see him lose. So what happens when Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney come up, and what happened at 135? The only thing that people say, Shakur should have took the offer. Shakur should have took the offer. And how many times have I tried to explain to people, if I'm your mandatory, I don't need to take no offer from you. I'm your motherfucking mandatory, bro. Why people won't accept that Devin Haney made an offer so that it looked like he didn't duck? Simple as that. He made an offer so that you can say, oh, he made an offer. He not ducking. But he done vacated the title and ran from the division right after making that offer. That right there should tell you that the offer was never real. That right there should help you understand this offer was never real. Because if it was real, why did you leave the division right away and vacate? Come on. Listen, the only way that you could think that Shakur ducked Devin Haney is if you just never like Shakur and you always talk against him. You always have an argument against him. You always have a talking point against him. You're literally a certified Shakur Stevenson hater. It's as simple as that. I want you to think about this. I really want you guys to think about this. When have you ever seen a fighter have a mandatory? He got a mandatory. He make an offer and leave the division. Tell me one more time that you ever seen that in your life. Made an offer, leave the division. Tell me one example that you ever seen that happen. So you can have whatever opinion you want, right, about what you think happens, but tell me one time that you ever saw a fighter, he got a mandatory, made an offer, leave the division. No negotiation, no trying to make the fight, no going back and forth, nothing. We out of here, we leaving the division. That's like one of the most blatant ducks we've seen in recent history. But if you hate Shakur Stevenson, you're going to be like, nah, Shakur, it's Shakur that ducked because he should have took the offer. When have fans ever even made those arguments, man, that you got to take an offer when you don't have to? Clifton Dennis called his bluff. But you see, that's what I'm trying to tell you, Clifton Dennis. Why are fans telling a fighter, take the offer and sign the contract when none of you know what was in that contract, what he has to agree to? When have you ever done that besides with Shakur Stevenson, bro? Like, it's a new level of hate for Shakur for your argument to be that he got to take the offer. Take the offer, But I'm mandatory, why I got to take the offer? I'm the mandatory. Now, who ended up with that title? What? You see, that's the thing, Clifton Dennis. You guys like to tell that little part that you like. Hey, he should have took the offer. He should have took the offer. But what happened after? You got to tell the whole story, right? If you're going to tell it, like, did you guys watch Rocky 3? What happened in Rocky 3? Mr. T beat Rocky. Rocky got the rematch, and then he beat Mr. T, right? If you saw it, you know that's what happened. Now, when you telling other people about the story of Mr. T and Rocky, do you just say, yo, Mr. T beat Rocky? Or do you finish telling the story and you say, yo, Mr. T beat Rocky, but then Rocky came back in the rematch and beat him? That's the whole story, right? So why would you just say Shakur didn't take the offer, but you forget to tell the part that they were going to go to bid, and Devin Haney, right before the purse bid, dropped the title and ran from the whole division? I don't know. I think if you tell the whole story, it sounds like it's Devin the Duck. You notice, Clifton Dennis, that you only talked about the offer? You only talked about he should have took the offer? But you don't say nothing about Shakur being the mandatory. You don't say nothing about it going to purse bid. And you don't say nothing about Devin Haney vacating the titles and leaving the division. Once you tell the whole story, it's obvious that Devin is a duck and that he ducked Shakur. But you never tell the whole story. You cling on to the little piece that you like. He according to you, should have took the offer. According to you, he has to do what you think he should have done. You never fought. You never signed a contract. You never seen a boxing contract in your life. But according to you, he should have just took the offer. But let's look. Look, what is more important here? Your opinion or the facts of what happened? I'm not injecting my opinion, Clifton Dennis. Look at the difference between what we both doing. You're injecting your opinion about what you think Shakur should have done. But you never fought, you never seen a boxing contract, you never seen that contract, you don't know what he had to agree to. It's just your opinion about what you think he should have done, right? I'm not using my opinion at all. All I'm using is Shakur Stevenson was the mandatory, and normally champions have to fight the mandatory. When Shakur didn't accept the offer, they was going to purge bid. And if they go to purge bid, Clifton Dennis, this is what makes it more of a duck. When you go to purge bid, you can Google that. You don't have to take my word for it. The champion gets 70 to 80%. Greg Hackett is in the building, my people. Salute, Greg Hackett. Yo, Greg Hackett, I've been telling the people, bro, you did your thing, and y'all got robbed, bro. Y'all got robbed. I was mad as hell. The way they did y'all dirty. And I appreciate you, Greg Hackett, because even though they did y'all dirty like that, you addressed it, but you going on about your business. You know, I see you smiling. I see you having a good time. You know, this didn't bring you down. You didn't say, oh, shit, man, they robbed me, fuck all this, and go in a downhill spiral, nothing like that. So I appreciate you, man. You out there killing it. You out there doing your thing. And the price is up. Yesterday's price is not today's price for Greg Hackett, my peoples. Make that bread, my brother. Salute. Bam. My peoples, Devin Haney ducked Shakur Stevenson. Whether you agree with me or not, in the 135 division, you can cling on to Shakur should have signed the contract. Shakur should have signed the contract. Well, that's your opinion. He didn't have to sign the contract. When you mandatory, you could take on the purse bid. And in case you don't remember, I'm the human algorithm. I remember that shit clearly. The week of the purse bid, I was like, oh shit, they going to purse bid. That's it. There's no getting out of this. No getting out of this. They going to purse bid. We're going to get Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney. Hell yeah. So what I need you to understand, Clifton Dennis, these negotiations did not end when Shakur didn't take the offer. These negotiations ended when Devin Haney vacated and ran from the division. It's a duck. No getting around it. Now, we saw the best version of Devin Haney in the welterweight division. And may I say, I told you guys Devin was going to whoop that ass. Didn't matter that he was the underdog. People was clinging on too much to, oh, Ryan Garcia, beat him up. He's not the same. He's scared. He's going to run. Well, the reality is that there's levels. There's levels, my people. Damn, Clifton Dennis, I got you removing your own shit, B. After I debunk everything you say, I got you really trying to figure out what you want to say. Figure yourself out, bro. There's no winning in that argument. You dead in the water. Injecting your opinion about what you think Shakur Stevenson should have done. Bro, come on now. Think about it. How much weight does your opinion hold on what a prize fighter need to do or what contract a prize fighter need to sign? How much weight does that really hold? What you personally think when you don't even like Shakur and you always bet and argue against him? That shit don't hold no weight, bro, at all. It's a dead-in-the-water argument that you make. Cooked. I could grab the frying pan right now and put you in there just, and you be tasty as hell because you cooked. Franchise. Devin not fighting no Shakur. Wait a minute. I got to say, the version of Devin Haney that we've seen at 147 and the way, Debo Dev, I think that now he's ready to make that fight. And of course, that's going to be one of the biggest fights in boxing. Clifton Dennis, you got to stop repeating the same thing because what you're not understanding that if I'm your mandatory, I don't need to take your offer. I'm your mandatory, family. How many times do I need to repeat that to you? If I'm the mandatory, I don't need to take your offer. We go to purse bid, and we still going to have to fight. Who ended up with that title? Who ended with that title around their waist? Shakur Stevenson. Deboed him out of his belt. Give me that shit. So you see, while you keep injecting your opinion of what you think should have been done, I'm telling you what did happen. Shakur was the mandatory, Devin Haney vacated, and Shakur ended up with that strap. That says everything we need to know. Opinions don't matter. Facts do. Triple A, stop mentioning Ryan. He was juiced to the gills. But I don't think you may have showed up late to the show, bro. I'm mentioning Ryan Garcia because a lot of people felt like Devin wasn't the same. A lot of people said Brian Norman Jr. was going to beat him because of what Ryan Garcia did to him. Remember the fight that Devin had in the Garden. When they fought at the Garden, okay, there you go. So remember when he fought at the Garden with Chris, there was a lot of movement from Haney. He didn't exchange a lot. The fight went the distance. And people said that he was running in that fight. I thought that was a masterful performance. Okay, I got you, Triple A. I thought that was a masterful performance from Devin Haney in the Garden. In New York, was it in the Garden? I can't remember. Oh, no, in Times Square. When they fought in Times Square. You know why I thought that was a masterful performance from Devin Haney? Because if he's coming off of that Ryan Garcia fight, where he took a lot of punishment, and I'm not, steroids or not, cheating or not, but he took a lot of punishment, right? He got dropped multiple times, jaw broken, face swole up. So the way that he fought in Times Square was smart. I told people, you don't want to fight, what you went through with Ryan Garcia and go into a slugfest right after that. You're not trying to end up being punch drunk. You're not trying to end up messed up in the head. So that was a very smart fight that he did to avoid taking punishment, and he was successful. He didn't take punishment. He came out of that fight clean. That was a great, smart strategy. You don't go to war back to back to back to back and end up to a point where you can't even talk right. No. And because of the way that he fought that fight, people said that he was going to be scared of Brian Norman Jr. Of course, Brian Norman Jr. was coming off of devastating knockouts. Remember what he did to Jin Sasaki? Boom! Just obliterated him. Like devastating blow to knock him out. So that's how people put two and two together. Well, Devin Haney, he got beat up by Ryan Garcia. He was running his last fight. He's scared. He's not the same no more. Brian Norman Jr. is knocking people out. And what I try to tell people right before that fight, y'all got it twisted, man. Devin Haney is no Jin Sasaki. You think Devin Haney Jin Sasaki? You're going to find out. It's levels to this shit. Brian Norman Jr., I got mad respect for him. Salute. A legitimate world champion. But he's not on the same level as Devin Haney. So while everybody was saying that he was going to knock Devin Haney out, once I made my assessment, I told you, I was like, nah, y'all got it twisted. Devin Haney going to put the beats on him. And to be fair, I didn't think it was going to be such domination, but I knew that Devin Haney was going to outbox him. Joe Jackson, Devin has power at 147. It's show against Norman. Listen, at 147, Devin has landed in his division. Because he said it himself. He had been struggling to make weight. He had been struggling to make weight in previous fights. Now he's in a division where he feels comfortable. And you saw the strongest version of Devin Haney. He was fast. He was light on his toes. Yo, that's it. He's at where he needs to be at right now. The Assassin. Salute, family. Bam. Out booger. End up like Benitez. Salute to the great Wilfredo. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. You can't... The best fighters are oftentimes, or the ones that have the longest career, the ones who are versatile. So Devin Haney can stand in there and bang with you, but he's not going to do that in every fight and end up punch drunk. Shakur Stevenson showing us that he can mix it up. When people kept putting that whole narrative out there that he's just going to run, and that he's scared, look what he did to Zepeda. Look what he did to Teofimo Lopez. Real deal. So what happened when Ryan whooped Devin? Ryan made Devin his child. And then he sued him like the police. Come on. Come on. You know that Ryan Garcia tested positive for steroids. I think that's enough of an answer for you. The Hydro Grind. Salute, family. Bam. Joe Jackin. Real deal. And Devin will F Ryan up at 147. Look, I believe we're going to get that fight. And it's going to be a big, big fight. That's going to be a very, very anticipated rematch. It already is. But when we get to that point that Devin and Ryan agreed to fight each other, that's it. Now, Ryan Garcia needs to get past Mario Barrios. If he becomes a champion in the welterweight division in his next fight, we're going to get that. Remember, right now, Devin don't have an opponent, and Ryan Garcia is fighting this month. This month. I promise you. If Ryan wins a title versus Mario Barrios, we're going to get a unification fight between Devin and Ryan. So now, it's going to be even bigger than the first time. Because remember, the first time Devin Haney was the champion, Ryan Garcia was the challenger. Now the rematch, it'll be a unification fight. Al Booger, blue weight, and came in on PDs. Come on, bro. I mean, it's like I told you. Devin Haney, you know, a lot of people got hate for him too. And they're not going to acknowledge the circumstances of his loss. They're not going to accept it. They're not going to say, oh, well, he lost, but Look at the weight that Ryan Garcia showed up in and look at what he tested for. Clifton Dennis. See, people hate on Devin even when he's cheated and dude was overweight. High talk. Garcia should wash Barrios. Nah, bro, I'm going to tell you what. I haven't been able to make a prediction on that fight. Haven't been able to predict it. Why? Because Mario Barrios can fight. His performance versus Manny Pacquiao was kind of... I think he gave too much respect to the legend. Other fighters would have been out there to beat Manny Pacquiao up. Mario Barrios, it looked like he was too respectful. I know that Manny Pacquiao can still fight. I didn't expect him to do as good as he did. But I think if Mario Barrios would have pressed on the gas a little bit more, he could have won that fight. Joe Jackin, I might want to see Devin versus Ryan more than Devin versus Shakur. Look, man, it's interesting for you to say that because there's different reasons why we want these two fights. We want that rematch because we want to see, can Devin get his gift back? Can he beat Ryan Garcia in a rematch? You know, now we're showing up. We're both making weight. We're both clean. Can Devin Haney beat him? Or does Ryan Garcia have his number? What if Ryan Garcia has his number and beat him again? That could happen. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Don't get it twisted. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, in this example, nobody showed up overweight and nobody tested positive for anything. But I'm giving you this example so you can see where I'm going with it. Look at Vernon Forrest versus Shane Mosley. Those of you who are old enough. Shane Mosley's first loss was to Vernon Forrest. And I was watching that fight live on TV, of course. And I was just flabbergasted. I was bewildered, perturbed, confused, all of it at once. Because this guy really was putting the beats on Sugar Shane Mosley. I was like, what the hell? You know, Forrest was nice, but he was the underdog, and I could not believe what I was watching. Okay, now they're going on to a rematch. And in the rematch, I'm like, yeah, Mosley gonna put the beats on this dude. Matter of fact, in the rematch, Mosley was the favorite once again. And I'm like, yeah, Mosley going to cook him this time around because he's not going to underestimate him anymore. He's going to show up ready to beat his ass. Yo, in the rematch, Vernon Forrest beat him up worse. Beat him up worse than the first time. And you know who put the beats on Vernon This dude, man, the crazy guy, Mayorga. Mayorga beat the crap out of Forrest. They did a rematch. Mayorga stopped him in the rematch. Stopped him. And then you guys saw what Mosley did to Mayorga. Beat the shit out of him. Beat the shit out of him. So basically, Bernard Forrest had the style, and he just had Shane Mosley's number. Historical-wise, nobody's ever going to say that Bernard Forrest was better than Shane Mosley. Nobody. But he had his number. The same thing with Ricardo Mayorga. He had Bernard Forrest's number. Sometimes it happens, my people, that a fighter just got your number. And they beat you because they style matches up well for them to beat you. So it happens. Does Ryan Garcia have Devin Haney's number? We don't know yet. In that fight, it felt like it, but there's factors that we have to consider. Did he have his number, or is it just that he showed up overweight and tested positive? So all I'm saying is that this rematch with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia very much anticipated, but right now, this is what, within the realm of possibility. Devin Haney trying to get in the ring with Keyshawn Davis, and afterwards with Shakur Stevenson. So it already shows that Shakur is in his radar. Like, okay, we didn't make it happen before. Obviously, in the welterweight division, Devin Haney's feeling good, looking good in the ring. We may actually get that fight, man. We may finally get Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. We may get it, man. I'd like to see it. This is a fight that I've been calling for since they was in the 137 division. The Hydro Grind, Mayorga was super entertaining. Hell yeah. Saw the shit out of a fight too. But the thing about Ricardo Mayorga, man, is that sometimes he crossed the line. Like, remember when he slapped Shane Mosley's girlfriend ass? Matter of fact, that was Shane Mosley's wife. And he slapped her ass. But then again, that's the same woman that left Mosley and took everything from him, including half of his belts. So yeah, she deserved getting her ass slapped. Now that I think about it. Latik, Devin is great, but Stevenson is like a cat. When he can run out of options, he'll fight Devin at 147. Then Devin will run to 154, boogeyman coming. I'm telling you, because Shakur Stevenson spoke about the possibility of going back down to 135. But what supersedes that option is if he gets a big fight. Remember, he said, I'm going to be looking for a big fight. But if not, I'll go back down to 135. You see Conor Benn already. Conor Benn looking for attention from Shakur Stevenson. Conor Benn acting like he want that smoke. But I'm going to tell you the funny thing about Conor Benn. The Hydro Grind. Devin looked like a zombie at the weigh-in. I think in this new weight and with equal battleground, Haney has a chance. But the Hydro Grind, you gave Zepeda a chance to beat Shakur. You said Zepeda was going to knock him out. You gave Teofimo. You said Teofimo was going to... So you always pick everybody against Shakur, bro. Trell Bruce, what's up, family? Salute, fam. Bam. Shakur hands in the building. Bam. Time. Bro, you look like Devin Haney daddy. Yesterday somebody said I look like Richard Pryor. Like, goddamn. Here's an interesting thing to consider, my peoples. And I'm gonna put Conor Benn on the spot for this one. I gotta put Conor Benn on the spot. My peoples, you guys seen Conor Benn go in the ring and everything, telling Shakur, what's up? They did the little back and forth and all of that. Explain this to me. How come Conor Benn made Chris Eubank Jr. agree to a weight clause when they fought? But now he's calling out Shakur, who's from a lower division, and he's saying, if Shakur won a weight clause, I want $20 million. A $20 million weight clause? Bro, who the fuck is you? I mean, damn, I got love for Conor Benn. I support Conor Benn. But who the fuck is you to be asking for $20 million for a weight clause? Bro, you're not even a champion. What is you talking about a weight clause? That you need 20 million. You didn't give Chris Eubank Jr. 20 million for that weight clause. Why you asking for 20 million? Bro, you ain't even make $20 million for a whole fight. You ain't making 20 million for a whole fight. How you asking 20? Bro, listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. I love Conor Benn. I love watching him fight. I love his aggressiveness. I just love his style, his mindset. I love honestly, B, pause, no Diddy, but I love everything about how Conor Benn operates. Outside and inside the ring. I love how he moves like he got a chip on his shoulder every time out. I love that about him. But I don't see that same energy with Shakur Stevenson. Now you looking like a bitch. You have that with everybody, but with Shakur, now I see you like you acting like a little bitch. You want $20 million for a weight clause? Bro, if you just came off of fighting somebody in a higher division and you didn't pay that money, you didn't pay all that money so you could get that shot, why now you telling somebody come up to me and you got to pay me $20 million for a weight clause? That's some goofball shit. Straight up goofball shit, my peoples. The assassin. Conor Benn is food for Shakur. Even a casual can see that at this point. He fooled. He fooled, bro. Tasty, tasty. Shakur will cook the shit out of him. And Shakur told him to his face. Conor Benn even said it. That throughout the lead up to this training camp for Shakur versus Teo, Shakur been hitting him up private. Like, you next. I'm going to beat your ass. You is fool for me. And he is. That's exactly what he is. Look what Conor Benn said. I want you to listen to this real good. You got no power. You're not going to be able to keep me off of you. Remember when they said that Terence Crawford wasn't going to be able to keep Canelo off of him? How did that play out for Canelo? That's the lamest shit I ever heard. You don't got no power, so you're not going to be able to keep me off of him. These skills are going to outbox the shit out of you. Conor Benn is fool for Shakur Stevenson. Of course he is. Miguel Rodriguez. This kid is delusional. He hasn't made 20 million his whole career put together. The guy just a talker and a brawler with box circles around him. I mean, delusional, bro. You want $20 million for a weight clause? My peoples, listen. I've been following boxing for over 30 years. I never heard of a $20 million weight clause in my life. Does that shit even exist? I'm not even Googling that shit because there's no way. Nobody in the history of boxing got no $20 million for a weight clause. Floyd Mayweather, who Floyd Mayweather beat for the 154 title? I can't remember. Chat, let me know. Floyd Mayweather, when he won his 154 title, that was at a catch weight. If I'm not mistaken, like 152, something like that, whatever it was. The richest fighter in the world didn't pay no $20 million for the weight clause. And Conor Benn won $20 million for a weight clause. Just tell the dude you don't want to fight him, bro. It's the same shit. Asking $20 million for a weight clause is the same as saying, yo, I don't want to fight you, bro. So I'm going to ask for an amount of money that I know there's no way I'm going to get. $20 million weight clause? Fuck is you talking about? And it's like I told you, my peoples, I got mad love for Conor Benn. But I got to call out the bullshit. I got to call out the goofballery. High talk. Shakur, the weave master. That's that jersey in him. Remember that dude that used to do the videos? Weave. You can't touch him. Conor Benn gets cooked easily. Clifton Dennis. Jay, just say nobody can beat Shakur. Shakira. Oh, man. Look, Clifton Dennis. You're going to start with the name calling. Take 24 hours, Clifton. My bad, but you're going to have to take that 24 hours. Shakira. Shakira. Come on, Clifton Dennis. Hold on, I changed it for a 10-minute. I changed it for a 10-second, Clifton Dennis. You've been timed out for 10 seconds. By mistake, I gave you 24 hours. You too real. I can't give you no 24 hours. But I gave you a 10-second timeout. Take those 10 seconds. Shakira, come on, bro. You ain't no casual. Leave the name calling for the casuals, bro. I know you don't like Shakur, and I know you be hating on him. But leave the name calling for the casuals, bro. Come on. Ito Molden. Neither of those guys is an 8-figure fighter. Al Booger. High talk. Don't do that. Like, we're gonna, come on, the name calling now, we're gonna, think about it. That's casual fan shit, bro. Don't do that. The name calling is not necessary, my G. You took a whole 10 seconds. Keep it real, bro. You don't have to do all that. You could give your opinion without exposing your hate. No need for no name calling. For what? A guy just win the biggest fight of his career. A guy just wins the biggest fight in 2026, dropped on the pound for pound list, get the ring belt, and you out here disrespecting, calling names. Come on, bro. Don't do that. Trell Bruce, salute family. Whoa, Trell Bruce in the super chat. Appreciate you, my brother. And I always say this to everybody. We don't do this for the money. We do this for the love of the sweet science. When you do that, you just saying, yo, Jay, I'm appreciating what you're doing out here. Appreciate you. I'm late. Did you talk about money-hungry Mauricio? I did talk about it, but Trell Bruce, you dropping it on the super chat. So we're gonna have to come back and address that. I can't just get past that. You know what I'm saying? You out here showing love. Nah, hold on. Hold on, bro. Because I did talk about it, but this is an important topic of conversation, and we're going to talk about it again. And I want you to chime in and see what you got to say about that. So I'm going to start off. Oh, it was a typo? Bam. Yeah, it says Shakira. But if it was a typo, no doubt. I'm glad I only gave you 10 seconds. I wouldn't give you more than that because you always come in with real shit anyways. My peoples, Mauricio the goofball Sulaiman decided to strip Shakur Stevenson of the WBC title. Now, I want you guys to take this into consideration. The WBC title wasn't on the line, bro. Shakur Stevenson fought Teofimo Lopez. That strap wasn't on the line. Mauricio Sulaiman wanted him to pay $100,000. $100,000 for a title that he defended 6-7 months ago. How much money you want to make a year off of me, bro? I didn't even fight for that title. And you want $100,000 so I can hold on to it? What are we doing? What are we talking about over here? What kind of piece of shit company you running with the WBC? Now, I want you guys to think about this. When Canelo Alvarez had David Benavidez as his mandatory, Mauricio gave Benavidez the interim title. Now that Benavidez got the interim title, Canelo don't gotta fight him. Don't gotta fight the big monster that everybody wanna see him fight. You got fans mad as hell calling for that fight. The whole planet was calling for Canelo Benavidez. But Mauricio gave Benavidez a special, different title, an interim title. So now he don't got to force the fight with Canelo Alvarez. How long was Benavidez the interim champion? For like a year, 2 years? Canelo was never forced to make that fight. He didn't have to fight the Mexican monster. Or y'all remember when he gave Canelo the franchise belt? And the franchise champion don't gotta fight nobody? Franchise champion fight whoever he want? Huh? Can you guys tell me what franchise belts right now? Who got the franchise titles? Canelo had the franchise. He don't got to fight the best. And then Lomachenko had the franchise, so he didn't have to fight Devin Haney. Vacated his WBC. Vacated that shit. I got a franchise now. I don't got to fight you. Can anybody tell me Did anybody ever get that belt besides Canelo and Lomachenko? Does that shit even exist right now? Ah, you made a special belt so that your guys don't gotta fight the best. So that your guys can fight whoever they want. But when it's Terrence Crawford, you say, give me $300, I'll strip you. When it's Shakur Stevenson, you say, give me $100,000. When you ain't even fight for the WBC belt, I'll strip you. How much does Mauricio Sulaiman need to do for you to understand that he's a greedy, corrupt piece of shit? That's all that dude is. Charles Bruce, he really just mad that he wasn't getting 3% of Shakur's biggest bag. So look what he did. Oh, well, damn, we not involved in this fight. Well, Shakur, we need $100,000 for the one that you got in the 135 division. Motherfucker, I defended that shit against the #1 contender 6-7 months ago. And I gave you a sanctioning fee. How many times you want me to pay you? I'm not even fighting for your belt right now. Like I told you, Mauricio, the corrupt piece of shit, goofball Sulaiman, do whatever he want with that sanctioning body. And I already told y'all, Box Center, right here, Jay Smith, if you got the IBF, the WBA, the WBO, and the Ring Magazine belt, you undisputed to me. I don't recognize the WBC anymore. I already peep game. I already understand that's a piece of shit title. I already understand that's a trinket. Mauricio Sulaiman think that his belt make the champions. He gonna find out otherwise. The champions make his belt. Once the best fighters start fighting for other titles and they say F the WBC, guess what? You're gonna start seeing young up-and-comers with a WBC belt, guys that you don't know with a WBC belt, and then that shit is just gonna turn into a trinket. That's going to turn into a title where people looking for an opportunity, looking to say, yo, yeah, I got a title. They're going to go get that shit. Because the big names in boxing, they all going to say F the WBC. It's only a matter of time. Remember, I told you this. So I no longer recognize the WBC as a main title, as a legit title. That is a piece of shit trinket at this point, ran by a piece of shit organization and Mauricio the Goofball Sulaiman. That's what I got for the ass. Hakeem, Thurman won when he signed contract. That's it after that. But it's a nice pull. So for me, if a fighter, okay, Ryan, thanks. If a fighter fights for that belt and they win in the ring versus another top level guy, I give the respect to that fighter for doing that. But the WBC, to me, that's a trinket. I don't recognize that shit no more. That shit is bullshit. The Hydro Grind. Have you seen the IRS claims about the WBC? I'm going to tell you the funniest shit about the WBC. And Mauricio Sulaiman is under investigation if you don't know this. I'll bring you something right now. The WBC is under investigation. You know why? Because he claims that he gives 75% of those sanctioning fees to fighters in need, to retired fighters who don't got money, to go find out how many fighters is broke and ask them if Mauricio Sulaiman gave him some. So basically, that piece of shit and the team that he run, look, the WBC is a family business. Mauricio Sulaiman's pops was the president, and then he passed that shit down to his son. That shit is literally a family corrupt business that they do whatever the fuck they want. He been claiming, yeah, 75% of that money. When Crawford didn't want to give him the $300,000, he tried to flip it like, oh my God, 75% of the money goes to help the fighters. Guess what? That motherfucker being investigated. He running that shit like the mob. That sanctioning fee money, that shit going like that, whoop, right into Mauricio and his family pockets. And they giving chump change to the fighters. Chump change. So that's it. You're not going to be able to use that excuse that I'm overpricing these sanctioning fees because we helping the fighters. No, you're stealing all that money. You're keeping it for yourself. Not only you keeping it for yourself, you've been doing everything that you want to do to put the fighters that you want up top. And that's the reason why, I want you to remember, that's the reason why he made that franchise belt for Canelo Alvarez. Because he didn't want Canelo to fight Benavidez and get beat up. Canelo's the cash cow. Canelo making a lot of money for us. If he get his ass whooped, we're done. We no longer going to be able to make all this money that we're making with Canelo Alvarez. He's our partner at this point. Canelo Alvarez is a WBC partner at this point. And why I'm labeling him a partner, watch this. Terence Crawford lost. Terence Crawford beat Canelo Alvarez, right? And he beat him for that WBC belt. Now, you got to understand something. Mauricio Sulaiman frames it like we gave Terence Crawford an opportunity. Do you guys think Mauricio gave Crawford an opportunity? Do you think he gave Crawford an opportunity for the WBC belt like he's telling it? Let me help you understand. There was no opportunity. He thought Canelo was going to crush Terence Crawford. He thought Canelo was going to knock him out. And it just didn't play out the way he thought. So when it didn't, what he do? He stripped Terence Crawford and now put that title back in the path of Canelo Alvarez. Now Canelo Alvarez gets to fight Billy, and if he wins, he's the WBC champion again. So basically, I'm showing you that Mauricio Sulaiman will do anything to make sure that Canelo has that belt. Anything. If I got to strip the real champion, I'm going to strip him. Whatever it takes. We need Canelo to be the guy holding this belt. So yeah, he a corrupt piece of shit. That's just the reality. Charles Bruce, I'm not a huge fan of the WBA either. But I ain't never heard no shit like this. I mean, the WBA, I didn't like that secondary title. Because you guys remember, Tank Davis had a secondary title for years. He had the secondary title for years at 135 until they promoted him to the main title. Tank Davis didn't win that main title inside the ring. He had a secondary belt. And then the thing about the secondary belt is that you never get a mandatory. You're always going to fight whoever you want. Fight whoever you want. Bam, 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 bam. While you got your little secondary title. So I'm not really feeling that, but with their main title, they move like the other three sanctioning bodies. You either defend or you're going to vacate. At least I give them that. The WBA, when it comes to having that main title, you defend or you vacate. They don't make up a franchise belt for you so you don't have to defend. They don't start doing other moves to make sure that you keep that title. Al Booger, Trey Bruce, WBA, WBC are trash now, in my opinion. They destroyed themselves with greed. John Parham, not a good look for a true boxing fan. I mean, look, Mauricio Sulaiman, whether people agree with it or not, man, and you don't have to agree with me, but this guy is the definition of a corrupt piece of shit. That's the only way that I could describe him, me personally. I can't believe that he think he's going to get away with robbing fighters at point-blank range repeatedly. He a bitch. My peoples, what do you think about this possibility? Are we going to get Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson this year? He's talking about he want to fight Keyshawn and then Shakur. Now, Keyshawn Davis is saying that he'll move up to 147. If they don't put no respect on his name, he's going to go after Lewis Crocker. Try to grab a title, and now you're going to have to respect my name. So basically what he's saying is, I'll fight Devin Haney, but they got to pay me like they respect it. They got to pay me like I'm a champion too. And if not, he's going to fight somebody else first and then try to go after Devin after he's a champion in the division as well. But are we going to get Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson? How big of a fight is that, fellas? How big of a fight is Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson? Biggest fight in boxing. Biggest fight in boxing. Right third. I'd love to see it. I hope they can make it happen. If the businessman could get in there with Devin Haney, that would be a monster fight. Let's see it. But right now, at 147, Devin Haney is the best version of himself. He's the biggest we ever seen him. He's the strongest we ever seen him. Fast as hell, light on his toes. And, you know, I don't have to say nothing about, you know, his mechanics and how technically sharp he is. We already know all that. But the physical attributes at 147, that's it. And you guys remember, there was fights in the past where Devin Haney making weight look like a crackhead. You know he struggled to make that weight. Showed up to the win. Struggled. The Devin Haney that showed up to the win versus Brian Norman Jr., Debo Dev. The name fits. Well, they should fight this year, but I will probably marinate for a year. I don't know, man. I think that fight can happen sooner rather than later. But here's something to consider. Ryan Garcia is going to fight Mario Barrios for a world title, for the WBC title. Now think about it. That's how you know Mauricio the corrupt goofball Sulaiman is a piece of shit. Ryan Garcia lost in his last fight. How the hell you lose and your very next fight is a title shot? Oh, wow. Ryan Garcia, big star, big money, of Mexican descendants. He get put in front of the line. That's just the way Mauricio and them get down. Whoever they want get a title shot is going to get a title shot. Canelo Alvarez got his ass whooped by Terrence Crawford. His very next fight is going to be once again for that WBC title. He don't got to earn his way back in there. He's right back in the mix. So if Ryan Garcia beats Mario Barrios and becomes a champion in the welterweight division, that rematch with Devin Haney is going to be mad anticipated. Why? The first fight, Devin Haney was a champion, Ryan Garcia was the challenger. In this fight, it will be a unification fight. And we finally get to see if Devin Haney is going to be able to get his get back. It's going to be huge, huge fight. So I'm going to tell you right now, if Ryan Garcia, remember, Devin doesn't have an opponent yet. Devin been talking to different people, throwing shots. But if Ryan Garcia beats Mario Barrios and becomes a world champion, Devin Haney want to fight him so bad that fight steps ahead of all others. Remember, I told you this. Ryan Garcia goes above everybody in Devin Haney's list of opponents if he's able to beat Mario Barrios. Wes Dustin, salute family, bam. John Parham. In a weird way, I think Keys might have a better chance to beat Dev due to the power. Mr. Cato. And in a higher weight class, it's all on Ryan again. I mean, it is a higher weight class, but I have to say, Devin Haney, he Debo Dev, bro. Debo Dev at 147. So John Parham, I don't think anybody has a better chance than Shakur Stevenson. But I respect it. You know, you're not going to be trust me, it's a long list of people that's going to agree with you. But most of them is going to be the ones who's always saying Shakur, always making an argument against Shakur. The Hydro Grind, I'm sure he'll agree with you 100%. The Hydro Grind, I just wanted someone in that weight class to give a shot to Rohan Polanco. He's going to get a shot. But you have to understand, my brother, you have to earn that shot. Rohan Polanco is not there yet. He's still, I would say Rohan is still in that development process. Is still climbing the rankings. He's not ready for a title shot yet. Oh, maybe he is, but he hasn't earned it yet. He's got to get some top level wins, some high level wins before he could get. And I'm gonna tell you what, Rohan is gonna get a title shot. He's gonna get there, but he's not there just yet. But he'll get there. He'll get there. His star power is gonna keep going up, and I believe that he will accomplish. Very talented fighter, our Dominican brother for sure. John Pam, Shakur and Dev goes 12. Keys has a puncher's chance. Mr. KO, I believe Devin is in his strongest at 47. I always thought that weight would suit him. Man, listen. Just looking at him. Look at the difference in the weighing. Like I said before, man, we've seen weighings where Devin Haney looked like he was ill. Like he was sick. We were like, God damn, yo, Devin's dehydrated as hell. But this time around in the welterweight division, he looks strong, man. Even in the weighing, he looks strong. Fight night, Debo Dev. That's what we got on fight night. Debo Dev. My people, so what do y'all think about Conor Benn asking for $20 million for a rehydration clause with Shakur Stevenson? $20 million for a rehydration clause. I said this before, and I'll say it again. I've been following boxing for over 30 years. I've never in my life seen anybody say I want $20 million for a rehydration clause. I never see nobody say I want $10 million for a rehydration clause. I never see nobody say I want $5 million for a rehydration. Where the fuck did Conor Benn come up with this $20 million figure? That's like the same thing I say, look, man, I'm going to ask you for an amount of money that I know I'm not going to get, so I don't have to fight you. But what makes that worst, you just moved up to fight Chris Eubank Jr. And you didn't pay out a $20 million rehydration clause? You asked for a rehydration clause for that fight? How come you didn't pay $20 million for that rehydration clause when you went up? But you asking for it when you're asking Shakur to come up. So I always said it before. I love the way Conor Benn fights. I love the way he approaches things. I love his aggressiveness. Even his cockiness, I don't have a problem with it. His shit talking, I don't have a problem with it because I think that's part of boxing. That's part of the entertainment. So everything about the way Conor Benn moves and the way he always seemed to have a chip on his shoulder, I enjoy that. And I respect that. But asking for $20 million for a rehydration clause, that's the first time since I've been following Conor Benn that I seen him pull a bitch move. That's a bitch move. You know, goddamn well nobody giving you no $20 for a rehydration clause. Like, bro, you never made $20 million for a fight in your life. In your whole life, you never made $20 million for a fight. How the fuck do you figure you're going to get $20 million for a rehydration clause? Are you crazy? Are you on drugs? Are you what the fuck is you on, bro? Take your rehydration clause should be banned. No, so I'm going to tell you what I think about rehydration clause, my peoples. John Pam, that blonde guy cooked his brain. I don't know what the fuck. So I'm going to tell you what I think about rehydration clause, my peoples. I think that all fights should have a 15-pound rehydration clause. That way everybody got up to 15 pounds, but no more. And you know why I say no more than 15 pounds? Because I remember Arturo Gatti fought this dude, I can't remember his name, and he rehydrated like 20-something pounds. And he beat the shit out of the guy badly, yo. Beat him up bad, knocked him out brutally, all of that. And it's like you was watching two guys from two different weight classes fighting each other. So I think a rehydration clause, a reasonable rehydration clause, stops fighters from being able to weight bully their opponent the following day in the ring. You know, you should not go in the ring weighing 20 pounds more than your opponent. So in that aspect, I agree with it. Or let me tell you what's a good go around. The morning of the fight. Do the weighing the morning of the fight, no rehydration clause. That way we both have the same amount of time till we get to fight, to gain weight. But when it's the day before, if you're a weight bully, you're gonna have an advantage because you're gonna be able to get a lot more weight. And the thing is, my peoples, this is the reality of boxing. And I participated in boxing, and it's the reality in amateur boxing, it's the reality in professional boxing. Fighters will shrink down to the lowest that they possibly can. But everybody doesn't do that. Some people just get to where they feel comfortable and that's it. So what happens is you have a guy whose walk around weight is 130 and he's fighting at 126. And then you have a guy whose walk around weight be 160 and he's fighting in 126. When those two face each other, you need a rehydration clause. Because this dude done dropped 30, 40 pounds to get to 126. And if he don't got a rehydration clause for the fight, this dude gonna be weighing 145 against a guy weighing 132. And then it's not fair. So I think that the rehydration clause, there's something to it, but we just gotta find a way to where fighters are even. We gotta find a way to when they fight each other, they weigh close to the same. You know, on fight night, you should not be outweighing your opponent by no 20 pounds. That's crazy. It's like two people from different weight classes fighting each other. So there's a good reason to have a rehydration clause. We just have to find common ground so that fighters can get to fight night weighing about the same. Mr. KO, I agree. That will also stop them weight bullies that weight cut and rehydrate 20 plus pounds like the Limos dude. I think he came in 150 plus. He couldn't even make 135, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. You know, you can't have somebody where the two fighters don't even look like they're in the same weight class when they step in the ring. You got me by 20 pounds, goddamn. I'll do stuff. They should weigh in the day of the fight. And if they weigh in the day of the fight, then okay, because if you weigh in the day of the fight, you're not going to have enough time to gain no 20 pounds. So when we get to fight night, you might outweigh me by 2, 3 pounds, 4 pounds. But we're going to be, we're going to be close enough to each other. Black Lion Trades. Fighters should have to make weight, fight, before they enter the ring. That would be nice too. Because that's the thing, man. We say we fighting at welterweight, but we both stepping in the ring weighing 160. We made welterweight, but how much are we really weighing when we fighting each other? So that would be nice. Right when you're going to step in the ring, you step on the scale. Yeah, we both weigh 147. Let's get it. Let's get it. But everybody's shrinking themselves down so many weight classes that they get to fight night 20 pounds over that shit. Charles Bruce, John, that's why he's trying to use the core haters to gain some traction in the States. Yeah, Conor Benn is capped. He capped. He know there ain't no such thing as $20 million for a rehydration clause. But, he knows I step in the ring with Shakur Stevenson, I'm going to get some of this clout. Suimo, Jay, being overweight doesn't necessarily give you an advantage. It often hurts the overweight fighter. Lastly, skills pay the bills. It hurts the overweight fighters if they're actually overweight. If they're overweight, and what I mean by actually overweight, if they're weak, if they're fat, and they're gonna, their stamina is gonna be put into question in the championship rounds or whatever. But if you get there strong, like, let me give you an example. If you fight at 135, but your walk around weight is 160, and you get to fight night at 150, shredded, you're not going to be at a disadvantage, bro. You're going to be stronger than your opponent. You're going to be bigger than your opponent. You're going to be everything. That's why I point out at Arturo Gatti. I can't remember the opponent, but he showed up like 20 pounds overweight and gave him a brutal beating, the beating of a lifetime. And you could see it like, God damn, they don't even look like they... This dude looked like he was fighting a guy 2 pounds above him. 2 pounds above him. That's what it looked like. John Pound, people think 10 pounds ain't shit, but it definitely is. Yo, 10 pounds is a lot. If you got somebody by 10 pounds in the ring, that's a lot, bro. That's a lot. And it's going to show. When you guys punch, it's going to show. Wes Dustin, body compression test in wrestling to prevent overly dehydrating. I'm gonna tell you what will be the best solution. But we're never going to see this. The best solution is for fighters to fight at their normal weight. Don't shrink down 50 divisions so you can fight smaller guys. Fight at your normal weight. But you know what that would mean? Everybody would have to move up 2-3 weight classes. But if everybody does it, you're not going to have to fight bigger guys. If the guy's fighting at 135, right? If they all move to 147, they're not going to have to fight 147 pounders because the 147 pounders is going to move to 160. And they're not going to fight 160 pounders because those guys are going to move to 175. So if people fall closer to their walk-around weight, weight bullying would disappear from boxing. Weight bully's there because there's people that have the ability to drop down 20, 30 pounds for a fight. But that's a double-edged sword. That can come back to bite you. There's fighters who tried that, and by the time they got to the fight, they was completely dehydrated. They was weak. So I get what Sweeney's saying. That can affect you. You could show up to the fight messed up in the game, and even the rehydration that you do, you're still feeling messed up from the effects of that dehydration throughout the training camp. So it can happen. Suimos, Keyshawn versus Lemos. Bro, how good is Lemos really? How good is Lemos? You think Keyshawn have that same result if he has somebody in the level of Devin Haney? If he has somebody in the level of Conor Benn, who's not that slick of a fighter, but is going to outweigh you. So, Lemos, bro, it's a guy who's never been on nobody's list as the guy. So you're taking somebody who's elite and you placing him versus Lemos. Lemos could outweigh Keyshawn by 10 pounds. He's still getting beat up, bro. He not on that level. So, Suimo, you got to put people that are on the same level. Right now, you're comparing guys that are not on the same level. Lemos is not that guy, bro. But put Keyshawn Davis versus Devin Haney at a 10-pound weight disadvantage. He getting pummeled out there. He getting pummeled. If he goes on the elite at a disadvantage like that, he getting pummeled out there. Lemos, nah. Lemos ain't it, bro. Wes Dustin. It's easy answer and wait in before you step in the ring. That makes it all fair. That would be the easiest answer right there. We about to step in the ring in the dressing room right before we glove up. Step on that scale. Boom, you may weight, go fight. But you know why that doesn't work, Wes Dustin? I'm going to tell you why it doesn't work. Because guys kill themselves to make weight. So if they weigh themselves right before the fight, they both going to step in the ring weak as hell. So it doesn't work. It would only work if guys move up in weight and fight close to their fighting weight. Then it makes sense. But right now, you see dudes that walk around. I'm going to give you an example so you can see. Because the label weight bully, people only apply it when they like it. When it fits the narrative that they want, the argument that they want to make. But let me give you an example. Oh, no, skills pay the bills. But if we're both skills, weight is going to matter. Listen, Oscar De La Hoya and a lot of great fighters have said this. Skills pay the bills. But when you put a smaller great fighter versus a bigger great fighter, 9 times out of 10, the bigger great fighter is going to beat the smaller great fighter. It's just that simple. The smaller fighter is going to lose to the bigger, stronger fighter if they're both at that elite level. I'm not saying it's 100% that way. You're going to find exceptions. But in most cases, 2 elites, a big elite and a small elite, the big elite is going to win. There's no getting around that. West does it. Wrestlers do it. That's why they all wrestle near the walk around weight. Yeah, but wrestling is almost like an amateur thing. They almost got like an amateur thing going on. Because in amateur boxing, you do it too. In amateur boxing, you got to weigh in the day of the fight. And you got to make weight the day of the fight. The day of the fight, you got to make weight to make it happen. But it's like I said, in boxing, you have fighters who drop 20, 30, 40 pounds to make it to fight night. And all of those guys could be labeled a weight bully, but we only put that stamp, that label, on the people we want to put it on. Let me give you an example. Look at Tank Davis. How many years Tank Davis been at 135? Remember, he went up to 140, and then he went back down to 135. But for how many years Tank Davis been in the 135 division? Tank Davis moved up to 135 when he was 25 years old. At 30, he fought Lamont Roach in the 135 division. At 30. Now I ask you, those of you here who are 30 years and above, think about how much you weighed when you was 25 and how much you weighed when you was 30. Think about your body, your frame. Look around at other people. Look at their frame when they're 25 and when they're 30. Now, look at Shakur Stevenson, who somebody just mentioned. At 25, he was in one weight, and at 28, he's already moved up multiple times. Look at Devin Haney. At 25, he was in one weight. By 28, he was already in a different weight. Look at Teofimo Lopez. At 25, he was in one weight, and then by 28, he's in another weight. Tank Davis, from 25 to 30 years old, 5 years, he's been in the same weight class, fighting smaller guys. And people are like, no, because Tank Davis is small. Tank Davis is small. That's why. Tank Davis be walking around weighing 160 plus, 165. So he has the ability to shrink himself down to 135. But he walk around in the 160s. But nobody call him a weight bully. Why? Because when you're a fan of a fighter, you don't measure him the same way. He already fought at 140, by the way, and beat a champion in Mario Barrios at 140, but went back down to 135. I never seen nobody call him a weight bully. And let me just say, the video is up. You can go check it out. I specifically said Tank Davis is going to move to 140 or retire from boxing. And this was before the Jake Paul stuff, before he had the legal problems, before any of that. And the day that I said that, the following day, Tank Davis posted on Twitter and said, I'm either going to fight Manny Pacquiao or I'm moving up to 140. Why? I already knew what most people never wanted to accept. There's no way that Tank Davis was going to be able to keep making 135. He's been in that division for 5 years. His frame is not the same. If you Google Tank Davis 2025, when he made his debut at 135, even his head is bigger already at 30, 31 years old. So guess what? He wasn't going to be able to keep making 135. As much as you want to say, he's little, he wasn't going to make that weight no more. That's it. It was going to be impossible. GXTV, Tank actually fights at his natural weight. You see? His natural weight, that's what you made up inside your head because you're a fan of Tank Davis. How are you going to say that's his natural weight when he walks around in the 160s? That doesn't even make no sense. There is no argument that you can make, no reasonable, legit argument that you can make to say that 135 is his natural weight. This dude walk around in the 160s, bro, even 170s. How did you come up with this, bro? Don't you understand? Look, GXTV, let me tell you something, bro. Nobody fights at their natural weight. Nobody. So for you to say that Tank Davis fights at his natural weight, that's like a great example of a tankomaniac. You're a legitimate tankomaniac. I know that for a fact. For a fact, I know that you're a tankomaniac. I know every single thing that you have ever said about Tank and every single thing that you will say about Tank, I already know. You don't have to say it. Skip all of it. Skip all of it. You don't even have to say any of it. There is not a single person in boxing who fight at their natural weight. Not one. Nobody in boxing fights at their natural weight. Everybody in boxing drops 10, 15, 20 pounds. Come on now. Stop it. Stop. Don't do that to yourself. Nobody, there is no such thing in boxing as fighting at your natural weight. Only heavyweights. Heavyweights are the only one who get close to their natural weight. Nobody else. Everybody's dropping down 2, 3 divisions to fight. Where do you get that Tank fighting at his natural weight at 135? I have no clue, bro. Like, that shit is insane. Look, let me just put it to you like this, bro. Whoever told you that, lied to you. They lied to you. Tell me who told you that, because whoever told you that Tank fight at his natural weight, they don't know shit about boxing, and right here on this show, I'll call him a liar. Who told you this? Who lied to you like this? Nobody fights at their natural weight. Don't ever say that, because you're embarrassing yourself, and the person who lied to you, you're embarrassing them too. Nobody does that in boxing. That doesn't exist. The hydro grind. Tank can put up a lot of weight. Remember, he's short. Okay, but again, we go back to the same thing. It's your frame. Your frame, everybody doesn't have the same genetics. Tank holds a lot of weight. Being short, you see, that's the thing. We want height to be a factor when we want it to be a factor. And then when we want to ignore it, we can also do that too. Look at Canelo Alvarez. He fight at 168. Look how tall Jermell Charlo look in front of him. Jermell Charlo way taller than Canelo. And what did people say? Yeah, Canelo's shorter, but he big. He big. He's shorter, but he big. That's the same thing with Tank Davis. He's short, but he got that frame. Tank Davis got the size of a head of a goddamn welterweight. His head is the size of a welterweight, bro. Come on, man. GXTV butt fought at 168. That's his natural weight. I don't know what butt has anything to do with that, man. I don't know. You're talking about a guy that jumped up multiple divisions. If Tank Davis, you see, you don't realize, GXTV, that trying to make a good argument, you're actually making my point. Terrence Crawford fought, jumped up 2 divisions. And now you're saying he's at his natural weight. Well, if Tank Davis jumps up 2 divisions, 140, 147, then he's closer to his natural weight. You're actually making my point for me. Thank you. Thank you. Jumped up 2 divisions. Thank you. And Tank Davis stuck at 135 for 5 years. You made my point for me. Thank you. I didn't even have to do it. You did it to yourself. I'll grab this frying pan. Cook yourself right there. Mr. KO. So nobody think David Benavidez fight at his natural weight? Nah, bro. Listen, David Benavidez held on to that 168 trying to get that Canelo fight. He was trying, he tried. But you see, Mauricio the goofball Sulaiman, he didn't want Canelo to lose. So what he did, he gave David Benavidez a little secondary belt. Hold on, man. Take that 24-hour break. Come back tomorrow with a different vibe. We don't need the dummy shit right now. He gave David Benavidez a little secondary belt. Here, take this little trinket. We're not going to make you fight Canelo. We're not going to make Canelo fight you. And Canelo didn't have to fight him. So David Benavidez held on to that 168. But what he had to do, ultimately he had to move up because he could not keep making that weight. Could not keep making it. And just so that you see, Terrence Crawford, he was actually weighing in the 180s when he fought Canelo at 168. Terrence Crawford hopped on a scale. That's so you see that people that don't know shit about boxing, 24, 24, 24. You know we got to do it the hydro grind. Come in with some dumb shit over here. I know that's already one of those super fans that make shit up out of thin air. I want you to consider that. When Canelo Alvarez fought William School, the same night of the fight or the day of the fight, Terrence Crawford took a picture with him on a scale, and he was weighing 184 or 185. I don't remember. Think about that. 184, 185. That's why I told people 24, not 10. Oh, no, not 10 seconds. He need 24 hours. With that dumb shit he talking about, he need 24 hours. Come back tomorrow, say something smart. We don't need the Tank Maniac bullshit right now. So think about it. While everybody was saying that Crawford was too small, I was trying to explain to people, bro, Crawford been walking around in the 180s. He been training in the 180s. He been sparring, running, hitting the bag in the 180s. He's actually going to drop down to 168. So the notion that Canelo's going to be too big and too strong, when you got somebody in the 180s dropping down, that's erroneous. And how did that fight play out for Canelo? John Pound, people always thinking shit, but can't explain it. He tried. He gave it a whirl. My peoples, somebody that we didn't give love to when it happened, we didn't really talk about it, but I want to give him his flowers. Yo, Rayo Valenzuela, fellas, made his debut in Zuffa Boxing, walked out of there with the W. This a young man right here who they did him dirty. You know, the PBC did him dirty, and Zuffa Boxing brought him back to life. Eye for eye, salute my brother, bam. Zuffa Boxing brought my man back to life. You know, Rayo Valenzuela, I'm going to remind you guys that when he fought Pitbull Cruz, he was expected to lose. He was the underdog. People felt like he was going to lose that fight. And he won. He walked out of there with the W. Walked out of there with the dub. Double G champ. What do you think Canelo walked around at? He about 180, 190 as well. Yeah, Canelo walked around in the 180s. In the mid to late 180s. Maybe early 190s. But that's my point, that him and Crawford, you know, Crawford went to the weight that Canelo more or less walked around at. And then he dropped down to 168. So it wasn't like, people was acting like Crawford was this 154-pounder who a week before the fight was going to just start eating a bunch of food and catch up to Canelo's weight. Somebody even told me, I remember, that Crawford might show up to fight night weighing like 165 because he wasn't even going to be able to gain that much weight. Now realizing Crawford was walking around in the 180s and training in the 180s. But here we go, my peoples. Rayo Valenzuela got an opportunity in Zuffa Boxing. He's going to be making that money. Now, I mentioned that the PBC did him dirty, and I'm going to tell you why they did him dirty. Think about the fight with him and Pitbull Cruz. He was the underdog, right? He was expected to lose that fight. And guess what? I predicted it. I said, Rayo can box. And he know how to use his reach. He's going to outbox Pitbull. He's going to beat him. And I got a lot of shit for a lot of people. Like, you crazy. Pitbull's going to demolish him. Pitbull's going to destroy him. I'm like, yo, wait till fight night, man. This guy can box, and people not respecting him. Boom. He beat Pitbull Cruz, right? What was his next fight after Pitbull Cruz? Gary Antoine Russell. Now, I need you to understand something. Number one, Gary wasn't his mandatory. Number two, he didn't want to fight that quick. He wanted to take some time. But what did the PBC do? And Robert Garcia said it. This is not from me. This is from Robert Garcia. He said they basically told Rayo, you're going to take this fight. You're not going to get a rematch clause. And if you refuse it, you're going to be on the shelf. You're going to be inactive. You're not fighting nobody. It's this or nothing. So they basically forced him into taking that fight. Why? Because he was not supposed to win. He was not supposed to beat Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull was supposed to win, and that was going to set up a rematch for him and Tank Davis. But Rayo Valenzuela messed up those plans where he beat Pitbull. So what they do? They wanted to take that title from him ASAP. He didn't get the treatment that our guys get. Remember when Jermell Charlo lost for the first time? What happened? He got a rematch. He got the opportunity to get it back. How come when Rayo Valenzuela beat Pitbull, they didn't do a rematch? Or how come when Rayo Valenzuela lost to Gary Antoine Russell, he wasn't even allowed to have a rematch clause? Lost, you out of here. So they did him dirty. They couldn't wait to take that belt off of him. And they did. So now Rayo Valenzuela's on Zuffa Boxing. Won his debut fight on there. Salute to Rayo Valenzuela. You know, he's a fighter who, if you watched him fight before, this guy can fight. He got skills, and his fights are always fun to watch. So, Rayo Valenzuela is another talent who's on Zuffa Boxing. Mr. KO, I got love for Tio. Don't trip. Yeah, me too. You know, me too. Teofimo Lopez is one of the best young fighters of this generation, one of the most accomplished. And the thing is that boxing is a what have you done for me lately sport. So as soon as a fighter loses, fans are ready to shit on him. I already see fans telling me that Tio is done, Tio's cooked, his career is over, all type of shit. But this is the same thing that we saw when he lost to Cambosos, remember? When he lost to Cambosos, he a hype job, he a nobody, he done. And look how much he's accomplished after taking that L. So Teofimo Lopez is a great fighter, and I expect him to become a world champion again. I can tell you that right now. Easy, easy. He's going to be a champion again. I got mad respect. Mad respect for Teofimo Lopez. Yes, he's pissed me off a few times. I've been super upset with him when he does the racist stuff. And start talking about, you know, monkeys and watermelon and bananas and all that crazy shit. That's pissed me off. But Teofimo's a troll. Like, he's one of those guys that's gonna, you know, and that I'm saying this based on the people who's been around him, who spoke about it. He's the guy who's gonna say anything to sell a fight. He's the guy who's gonna say anything to get that attention. So if saying something racist is going to make people start talking about him and posting about him, he's going to do it. But I've seen a lot of people who've been around him who say, nah, this guy, he's not a racist. He'll just say anything to get that clout, to get that attention, which I don't agree with. But whether or not we agree with Teofimo Lopez and the way he handled himself, look at what he's been able to accomplish inside the ring. Let's take our opinion out of it and consider his accomplishments. Multi-division champion, lineal champion, Ring Belt Magazine champion, unified champion. He accomplished a lot. So, you know, got to give him his respect for that. The letter M. What do you think about Tio not taking Baphomet? He said it, man. That I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Like, Baphomet? Charles Bruce. Jay Smith, did you see the clip where Shakur was talking about seeing Tio alone in the medical room? Make me sick to my stomach. I'm going to tell you what, Trail Bruce. I've seen this a lot with fighters. Teofimo not the first one. And it's funny, his publicist tried to clean it up. He was like, nah, I was with him. I just walked out for 5-10 minutes to go see his family and cap. You see these fighters, prize fighters, show up to the fight, got an entourage. Everybody, firing on all cylinders. Everybody want to touch the belt. Everybody want to hold the belt. Everybody want to take a picture with him. But then they get their ass beat. And then when they walk back out into the locker room, that should be only 2-3 people with them. It'd be the trainer, the coach, the cut man. Where the fuck is the entourage? Where's everybody at? Damn, everybody, like before the fight, everybody was there showing love. Now you get your ass beat, nobody there. I've seen that happen in boxing a lot, bro. And it sucks. It sucks to see it. You want to see people support their guy, win, lose, or draw. In boxing, you see people support when they win. And when they lose, damn, bro, that locker room be empty as hell. Crickets. You see the fight in the locker room, and if the camera's allowed to go back there, it just be a few people there. That's common. I've seen that a lot in boxing. Fighting words. He trolled us all right. He trolled us to think he can fight at the top. What are you talking about, bro? To think he could fight at the top? How many titles he won? How many more titles he got to win for you to believe that he could fight at the top? He didn't troll me. I know he could fight at the top. He's been doing it for years and winning at the top. Like, bro, losing to Shakur Stevenson doesn't mean that you can't fight at the top. It just means that you lost to the best. That's all. Mr. KO, I had him winning 4 good rounds at best. But what's worse is that Shakur gave him that 1 round. And the Baphomet talk. Tio and Ryan, why do they keep mentioning that Baphomet stuff? I don't even know. That's some whole other shit going on. The letter M. Tio needs to fire his whole team. I agree with you on that. I say he needs to fire his pops. But the way that he was in the locker room, man, fire everybody. Fire everybody up in that shit. Just go. You know who I would like to see Tio working with? Somebody like Bozy. Somebody, it's not going to be Bomac. But one of these coaches with a proven track record. That's it. Go get a real coach. Your pops is not going to get you any further. Your pops got you as far as your own talent can take you. He's not going to make you rise above. Y'all seen the instructions in the corner? That's the most horrible instructions you're ever going to see in your life. Go hit him. Hit him. Hit him more. Where's your power? You're going to hate yourself tomorrow for this. What the fuck? And then his father threw him under the bus right after the fight. Right after the fight, you talking about, nah, man, that wasn't my son out there. That wasn't. Yo, his father, man, nah, he don't know how to handle that. If that's my son, you know what I would have been saying in the post-fight pressure? Yo, we a team, and we all messed up in this fight. We all dropped the ball. We all didn't do what we were supposed to do. I wasn't able to make the adjustments during the fight in the corner, and he wasn't able to make it inside the ring, and we took an L. I will own that L just like my son. We lost. We a team. We went all the way over here together. We lost. That's how you accept the loss. But you don't throw your own son under the bus, man. Oh, yeah, he wasn't listening. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing, and he wasn't. What the fuck? Yo, you my pops, B. You supposed to have my back. Tio Pops threw him under the bus, man. He needs to get fired ASAP. ASAP. Get him out of there. The assassin. People treat Roley like he an actual superstar. I can't see past all the robbery victories he got. He beat Ryan Garcia. And people going to consider that a big win. That wasn't a robbery. Because it's what I said before, my brother. Boxing is a what have you done for me lately sport. And what Roley's did lately is that he beat Ryan Garcia as the underdog. Remember, he was supposed to lose that fight. I predicted he was going to lose that fight. Ooh, that's a prediction that I got wrong, by the way. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I don't get a lot of wrong predictions, my peoples. I'm not here to get them wrong. I'm not here to miss. And I got that wrong. I felt like Ryan Garcia was going to beat the crap out of Roley's. But let me just say this, bro. Roley's, I'm glad that you brought Roley's up. You know why? Because he's the perfect example of what a coach can do for you. Did you see how he fought Ryan Garcia? Did you see that consistent jab to the body? Did you see how he kept that stick out there, established the jab on Ryan? The way he was setting up his punches? The way he wasn't just brawling, he was also using that lateral movement, using that step back. So Roley's mixed it up like you never seen him mixed it up before. You saw him use that footwork when he needed to. You saw him apply pressure when he wanted to. This was a different Roley's than what we used to see. And who he got in his team now? Salas. The world-famous Cuban coach. And you saw what a coach can do for you once you step in the ring. Not only did they work on Roley's mechanics, not only did they work on his jab, not only, did you see a better version of him, you saw a more patient Roley. Because let's face it, Ryan Garcia catch you with that left hook, it could be over right then and there. But they planned for that. And Ryan Garcia never had that opening that he's used to. And with Ryan Garcia, listen, when he shoot that left hook, hands down, man down. You know how many times, go watch that fight. You know how many times Roley's caught that left hook right there? Bang! Oops, you missed me. Bang! Oops! You saw a different Roley's. Versus Ryan Garcia, we saw the best version of Roley's that we've ever seen. We saw it. Fighting words. Tio been ducking the real smoke. Now, he ain't been ducking the real smoke. You just don't like him, family. Lomachenko is not real smoke. The previously undisputed champion, Josh Taylor, is not real smoke. All the champions that he beat to become... Nah. You just don't like the guy. So you're going to have a narrative against him. And I already know every talking point that you can come up with because I already heard him. Anything that you say about Teofimo, you said it a bunch of times in different groups. You said it on Facebook. But there's also people who already said those things that you're going to say about Teofimo. He definitely ain't ducked no smoke. He got a lot of smoke. Only smoke I seen him duck was Devin Haney. Then he been about all that smoke. JJ Zadejas, 62 people in the building, only 47. Like a lot of ghost watching, man. But there's a lot of haters too who come up in here to just watch and learn and go spread the narrative and another shit that they heard from me. Tom Seaver, move to Tio's right. He can't fight. The letter M. That encourage is when you win, we won. When you lose, you lost. Yeah, that's nasty work. That's nasty work. We're supposed to win together and we're supposed to lose together. So Tio Pops was a horrible coach and even a horrible father. Bro, you throwing your own son under the bus? Oh, he wasn't listening to me. Fuck you mean he wasn't listening to me? You was giving horrible instructions anyways. Throw more punches? Where's your power? Like, what kind of instructions is those? Nah. He did a horrible job as a coach. And after the fight, he did a horrible job as a coach and as a father. You don't throw your son under the bus. It's like I told you. If I'm Teofimo Pops, when we go to the presser, I'm the first one to take that L. I'm going to be the first one saying, yo, I didn't prepare my son for this. We lost as a team. We got here as a team. We lost as a team. And I just wasn't able to make the adjustments in the corner. I didn't give him the right instructions. He wasn't able to make the adjustments. So we both lost. We both took this L. I would have took that L with him. I would have put some of that weight on me. But damn, yo, he put all of it on Teofimo. He didn't listen. He didn't do what he was supposed to be doing. He must have been affected by a shot that he took to the body. He even said that wasn't my son out there. What? Man, listen, that's nasty work. Nasty work. He need to get fired. He need to get fired. Tio need a real coach. Trout Bruce, not even his father was in there. He was doing interviews, talking about he wasn't listening to him. What the fuck? Like I said, bro, it's sad to see fighters go into a fight with an entourage of people. They all got my back. Look at all these people celebrating, taking selfies with me. Oh, everybody want to touch the belt, everything. And then when I get my ass beat, I'm by myself in the locker room. I'm by myself. It's just 2, 3 people. Where the fuck is everybody at? But that show you none of them people really fuck with you like that. They just trying to take the picture with the champ. You ain't the champ. They not there with you no more. That's it. Come on now. A2 Molden. If your dad isn't a good coach, he got to go. He got to go. And think about this. Brian Norman Jr. fired his pops. Fired them. Back in the day, Oscar De La Hoya fired his pops. A lot of fighters have fired their pops. It happens. Why? Because your pops was good enough to use your physical gifts to help you get there. But they not good enough to make you better because they not no goddamn boxing coaches. They learn how to boxing coach with you because you were talented. But they not no real boxing coaches. So ultimately, T.O. Pops is not going to make him any better than what he is right now. He don't have the understanding, the knowledge to make him a better fighter. But Brian Norman Jr., what he do? Got his ass whooped by Devin Haney. And he was like, nah, Pops, you didn't get me ready for this fight. You didn't prepare me to do what I was supposed to do. And I got my ass whooped. I need somebody that's going to help me level up, and you can't do that. Because I want you guys to think about this. Brian Norman Jr. didn't just lose to Devin Haney. He got dominated, got his ass whooped. If you get your ass whooped the way he did, you didn't show up ready for that fight, for that type of fight. Remember how they spent the whole training camp talking about Roy Jones fired his pops too, you see? A lot of people fire their pops. So if Brian Norman Jr. spent his training camp telling us, and his pops telling us that Devin Haney was going to run the whole fight, that he was going to cut the ring, that he was going to knock him out, and now you get a Devin Haney that's standing right in front of you ready to trade leather, and you a deer in the headlight. You wasn't ready for that version of Devin Haney. Your pops didn't prepare you for that version of Devin Haney, or at least him firing his pops. That's what that tells me. I don't know how they prepared for that fight. I don't know what they did in training camp. But if he got his ass whooped, he wasn't ready for that. He wasn't ready for that type of smoke with Devin Haney. Shaggy, you may know your son's strengths and weakness, but you can only take him so far in the ring. That's the point. If he's physically gifted, you could take him up to a certain point because he has that talent. But after that, you can't take him any further. You're not going to take him any further when you're in the corner talking about, hit him more, hit him, hit him. Oh, fuck you mean hit him more? What? You guys seen Bomac? You guys seen Bozy? Yo, step on the outside, man. When he shoot this, step on the outside, pop, hook to the body. Yo, he's doing this, back away, give him the counter right hand. Yo, when he backs into the rope, give him the right hand up top. Yo, he keeps shooting that jab down low. Go ahead, hit him with that check hook. They giving the fighter specific instructions of what I need you to do to whoop his ass. And you see the fighters following those instructions. You see the fighters focus on what they telling them and then executing in the ring. That's real instructions. Go hit him some more. Use your power. What the fuck kind of instructions are those? Yo, I said that Teofimo needed to fire his pops when he fought George Kambosos. I don't know if y'all remember this, but the instructions that he was giving him, fuck him up. Go fuck him up. Bro, I'm trying to fuck him up. What the fuck is you talking about? What kind of instructions are those? So ultimately, I know that Teofimo got mad love for his pops. All sons got love for their pops, especially when they get to that level. But if your pops is not cutting it, if he can't get the job done, and you want to keep accomplishing, you want to level up more, you got to fire him. You got to let him go. That's it's time to let him go. After this performance, you got to let him go. And then he performs horribly in the corner, gives horrible instructions, and gets to the post-fight presser talking about Tio wasn't listening. Nah, he wasn't listening. He wasn't doing what exactly was he supposed to be listening to? You wasn't saying shit, but go fuck him up, and you're going to hate yourself tomorrow, and where's your power? That's what I kept hearing. Eye for eye. He had to have been drunk that night to say fuck him up. He had to be drunk. He just kept repeating, go fuck him up. Fuck him up. Like, what the fuck? I never seen no instruction like that in my life, B. The only time you give those instructions, I mean, I've seen similar stuff. But this is when, a fighter dropped his opponent and hurt him badly, and the round ends right there, so y'all know he hurt. Then it makes sense. Yo, go fuck him up, man. He hurt. He hurt bad. Get him out of there. Okay, that makes sense. But you losing, you getting your ass whooped, and the instructions is go fuck him up. You're not doing nothing. You're not really giving no real instructions. The letter M. Santiago Ramirez. Good morning, Jay Smith. How was your morning? Why did they strip the belt from Shakur Stevenson? Well, I'm going to tell you what they said and what the reality is. They stripped Shakur Stevenson because Mauricio Sulaiman is a piece of shit. I'm giving you the best answer that I could give you, right? They stripped Shakur Stevenson because Mauricio Sulaiman is a piece of shit. And, well, my bad. Let me rephrase that. He's not a piece of shit. He's a greedy piece of shit, right? So, Shakur Stevenson moved up to 140, and the WBC strap was not on the line because Teofimo doesn't have that belt in that division. He don't have it. So that fight wasn't, that title, the WBC title wasn't on the line on Saturday. Well, Mauricio Sulaiman wanted $100,000 so Shakur could keep his 135 title. But remember, he already told us that he may move back down. His last fight was versus the #1 challenger in William Zepeda. That was the last fight, 6-7 months ago. Beat the shit out of him. Of course, Mauricio Sulaiman is not going to like that because Zepeda's a Mexican guy who he was hoping could get that title. But Shakur beat the #1 contender for that WBC strap. Now he's fighting at 140. The WBC belt is not on the line. You ain't getting no sanctioning fee for this fight. So he won $100,000. And Shakur said, no, I'm not paying you that $100,000. Boop, stripped him. But I ask you and I ask everybody else in here, how come when David Benavidez was the mandatory for Canelo Alvarez, was the #1 challenger for Canelo Alvarez, Mauricio Sulaiman gave Benavidez the little bullshit secondary title? Why? Why he gave Benavidez an interim title instead of stripping Canelo like he stripped Shakur? Why? Because Mauricio Sulaiman is a piece of shit. He's crooked, right? And because he's crooked, he's going to do anything possible to make sure Canelo, his Mexican champion, is always going to have that WBC strap. Shakur's not Mexican. He's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. We stripping your ass. That's how Mauricio move. How come he made that franchise belt only for Canelo and Lomachenko? Have you heard of the franchise belt? Is there a franchise belt in any division right now? Does anybody got that? No franchise belt. Because we only made this shit for Canelo Alvarez and Lomachenko, so they don't have to defend. Nobody else. Can anybody tell me where the fuck is the franchise belt? It don't exist anymore. It's a fake belt that we made so that our guy Canelo doesn't have to get knocked out by David Benavidez. We need Canelo to be the WBC champion at all cost. Look, they stripped Terrence Crawford, and where's that WBC belt going? Canelo and then Billy get to fight for the vacant strap. So they put it right in the path of Canelo once again. Mauricio Sulaiman do anything to make sure that Canelo get that belt. That's all they want, Canelo to have it. It's just the reality. JJ said that Jay Smith sent you that last night. If you've seen it, Solomon is wrong for that. And anybody that hang with Crawford is going to get blackballed. That's it. Shakur Stevenson, we know the relationship that he has with Terrence Crawford. So anybody associated with Crawford, if they find themselves with that WBC strap, the rules is going to be different for them. Of course, we're not going to protect you in any way, shape, or form like we do Canelo. We're not going to give you no franchise. We're not going to give the #1 guy a secondary title so he don't challenge you, so he can't fight you. No. We're going to ask you for mad money. You don't give it to us, we're going to strip you. Or you're going to have to fight who we say when we say, or we're going to strip you. You're not going to get the Canelo Alvarez treatment. Mauricio Sulaiman a piece of shit, my people. That's the only way that I could answer to that. The letter M. The guy's fake, Angelo Johnson, fake belt. That's facts, man. You talking facts right there. Santiago Ramirez, I'm Mexican. And that's not cool. Makes us look bad. Make it look bad, homie. Sad. Greed. It's a mother F. It's true, bro. Greed. Mauricio Sulaiman is like the definition of a piece of shit. And he under investigation. In case you don't know it, Mauricio Sulaiman under investigation. You know why? Because he say that 70% of the money goes to the fighters. That's a lie. That's a lie. 70% of the money don't go to the fighters. Been stealing that money. Eugene Johnson, Jay Smith. Why is Shakur ducking Devin? I don't even know how you came up with that. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know who told you that, who lied to you like that, but there's just no answer for that, bro. We saw Devin Haney duck Shakur at 135, and they never been in the same division since. I don't know how to answer that, bro. Like, who told you? Who lied to you like that? JJ Zadejas. You're 100% Jay Smith. The agreement, and I'm going to tell you guys, I'm the first one to tell you, but I won't be the last. If you got the IBF, the WBO, the WBA, and the Ring Magazine belt, to me, here on Box Center, you're an undisputed champion. I do not require the WBC belt to consider a fighter an undisputed champion. That shit has become a trinket, in my opinion. Let that shit sizzle in your spirit. I don't recognize that shit no more. I don't recognize that bullshit ass belt. That's it. That's how I'm moving from here on out. If somebody got them 3 belts, the letter M, you got it. F the WBC. If somebody got the other 3 belts and they got the ring, to me, they undisputed champion from here on out. I don't recognize that crap. Mauricio Sulaiman, Mauricio the goofball piece of shit, crooked Sulaiman, I don't recognize your belt. And watch, already Shakur Stevenson said after WBC, Buzz said after WBC, everybody going to Sufa already said after WBC. So more and more, you're going to see it. You're going to continue to see that. Eventually, all the best fighters are going to go like that to the WBC. Peace. We don't need you. Mauricio Sulaiman forgot something that I don't forget. I'm the human algorithm, my peoples. Belts don't make the fighters. Fighters make the belts. Mauricio forgot that. So when you start seeing the other fighters fighting for other titles and fighting for Zuffa and ignoring the WBC, you know what's going to happen? You're going to have up-and-coming fighters that'll look for the WBC to try to get a belt. You're going to get B-level fighters fighting for that belt. You're going to see fighters that you don't even know fighting for that belt. And then what? that shit is gonna turn into a bullshit ass trinket. The downfall of the WBC has already kicked off, my peoples, and I'm the first one to tell you. I don't need somebody to have the WBC to consider them undisputed. That's it. You got the other three and the ring belt, you're undisputed to me, baby. It's a wrap. Teach. Me not looking at the rules. I don't feel Shakur had to pay. But it's their rules. The WBC is right. It's not Shakur's right. Due diligence, people will start looking at the rules. I don't know what rules you're talking about. What rules are you talking about? So the rules only apply to Shakur, but they didn't apply to Canelo? When Benavidez was his mandatory, and they never made Canelo fight him, and they gave Benavidez a secondary titles, so you're telling me that the rules are different per fighter? Where was the rules when Mauricio Sulaiman decided to make a franchise belt for Canelo Alvarez and Lomachenko, and they didn't have to fight mandatories? So teach. There's no such thing as rules when you're doing whatever the hell you want to give titles to whoever the hell you want. Do you know who has the franchise belt that Canelo used to have? Can you tell me what the rules are for the franchise belt? So you think you're making a good argument, but it's not a good argument. Teach. You think you're making a good argument, but you're not making a good argument at all, because at the end of the day, those rules change per fighter. What rules are you talking about? What are the rules of the franchise belt? You don't know them. What are the rules to tell your champion you don't have to fight your mandatory? You don't know them. So teach. Don't talk about rules that you don't know. Those are you're advocating for rules that you don't even know about. You don't even know about the rules. Why would you advocate for rules when they clearly do not follow the same for every fighter? Jump Ham, Teach. You've been catching hell all these boxing streets lately, because Teach is making the devil's advocate arguments that fall flat if he's talking to somebody who knows boxing. How do you advocate for rules when they not apply to everybody? What you're literally saying, Teach, is, well, you know, they got to follow the rules even though everybody else don't got to follow the rules. That's really what you're saying. Come on, man. Let's be realistic. Mauricio Sulaiman got no rules. He got rules that he applies to these fighters, and then he got rules that he applies to his fighters. Oh my God, let it be a Mexican champion. If it's a Mexican champion, you ain't getting stripped. You ain't getting forced to fight the best. You ain't getting put in these same situations. So don't bring up the rules when they not being applied. Don't bring up the rules when they making franchise belts for this guy, but they not making franchise belts for those guys. Why they didn't make a franchise belt for Terrence Crawford and instead stripped him? Why they didn't make a franchise belt for Shakur Stevenson? Because, let me just answer it, and it may not be what some of you want to hear. Shakur Stevenson couldn't get a franchise belt because he's not Mexican. Mauricio Sulaiman is not giving him a franchise belt. He want to strip that title ASAP. The letter M, because Crawford ain't Mexicano. Come on now. The level of corruption is in your eyes. When there's corruption, we're already past the rules. What rules? This motherfucker don't follow no rules. He just do whatever he wants. And the people that he wants are the ones that are going to be champions. The people that he say are going to have to vacate. Mauricio Sulaiman do whatever the hell he want. I'm telling you, that guy's the definition of a piece of shit. That's the only way. And by the way, I told you guys this before, and let's see where this is going to go to. That dude is under investigation, y'all. Mauricio Sulaiman is under investigation, fellas. And you know why he's under investigation? Because according to him, according to Mauricio, the dummy goofball Sulaiman, he gives 75% of the sanctioning fee money to the fighters. That's a lie. That is a lie. He tried to portray this image like, no, because that money, and he tried to play that shit with Crawford. No, because that money, we were going to give it to the fighters in need. Go look around. How many fighters is dead broke? How many fighters been homeless? How many fighters staying with a family member house because they don't got no money? And this motherfucker over here talking about he using all that money for fighting. You know how many millions and millions of dollars Mauricio Sulaiman has made off of sanctioning fees? Bro, if 70% of that money was going to the fighters, every single fighter who retired and ever fought in the WBC would be chilling right now. All of them would own a home, own a nice car, be taking care of their family off of that fund. But guess what? In the last 10 years alone, Mauricio Sulaiman's organization has given like $2 million or $1.2 million to the fighters. I'm not sure if it's 2.2 or 1.2. After 10 years, bro, if you was giving 75%, you would have gave mad money to the fighters. So they're being investigated because, you know, you got to file taxes for all the incoming money that you get. This goofball right here, he not. He committing fraud all the way. He pocketing him and his family. They pocketing and stealing all that money that they say goes to the fighter. Look at that smirk. Look at that goofy ass face. I feel like punching this motherfucker in the mouth. Say no to violence, my peoples. Say no to violence. I'm not saying I want to do that literally, but if there's anybody that I could box, I would love to box him. I would love to box Mauricio Sulaiman and just legally beat the shit out of him. Legally, inside of a ring with boxing gloves. Sulaiman versus Jay Smith. Fuck his ass up with that funny ass smirk. Goofball. Jay is in the house. Bo is homeless right now. You see? A lot of fighters who need money, who are struggling. And where's that 70% going to? Where is that? Where's that money going to? To Mauricio Sulaiman and his family, because you have to understand, these people are as corrupt as it gets. And why do I say that? Who was the previous president of the WBC? Who was it? It was Mauricio Sulaiman's father. His father was the president of the WBC. And then he passed that shit down to his son. That shit is a family business, headquartered in Mexico. It's not a coincidence that Mexican fighters get different treatment. You taking care of his guys. Teach, I expect WBC to come out with their statement. But yeah, I can tell the WBC favors certain fighters. Eye for eye. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker would still be alive if he had money from his career. Eugene Johnson, but never asked Canelo for a rehydration clause. Stop ducking, Shakur, goofball. John Parham, appreciate y'all hitting that like button. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Remember, my people, no ghost watching in 2026. No ghost watching. Eye for eye. I see 60. Can we get 65? Whoa. 60. Let's race it to 65. Double tap that screen. My people, listen. I know that I get a little bit emotional. And maybe I curse more than I need to when I'm talking about this bitch-ass motherfucker. But it's just the way that he been doing fighters dirty for so many years. And the way that I could tell he just dying to take these people's titles away because he want these guys to have it. He do it too much, man. Tired of seeing it already. Tired of his bullshit, bro. That's it. I'm going to be calling his ass out. And like I told you, I no longer recognize, I do not recognize the WBC as a legitimate title. From here on out, if you got the other 3 belts and you got the Ring Magazine, according to Jay Smith and Box Center, you undisputed. For me, you're not going to need the WBC no more to be undisputed. That shit is a trinket. That shit is a family business ran by a corrupt goofball in Mauricio Sulaiman. That's my perception. You don't need the WBC to be undisputed no more. That's a thing of the past. That dude's going to learn one way or another that the belts don't make the fighters. The fighters make the belts. He's going to learn. Time will teach him that. Time will teach him that. Shakur hands, he really get on my nerve for sure. I'm telling you, just thinking about that funny-ass smirk he be having on his face get me triggered, babe. Mauricio Sulaiman be triggering me. JJ's in there, J. Smith. You don't cuss enough. Get him the fuck out of here. John Parham, he looks like he plays on a doctor on General Hospital. Reef, Mauricio a hoe. Bring the IBO to the 4 belt era. That's a good way to describe him. He a hoe. I didn't think of that word. Yo, Reef, I appreciate you, man. You came through with a good one right there, because, you know, he definitely a bitch-ass nigga. He a piece of shit. But he a hoe, too. I had not thought of that. You got me on that, Reef. That's a good one, bro. Salute to you, man. Bam. Reef came through with the facts that we had not laid out. Mauricio a hoe. The letter M. How will you finish Sulaiman? Simple. He already on his way to being finished. The way you finish his ass is by all the best names. Ignore his ass. Ignore that belt. Say F the WBC. Terrence Crawford did it, but he's already out of boxing. Shakur Stevenson already said F the WBC. And he's going to be the face of boxing. I promise you this. So everybody who went to Zuffa already said F the WBC. So you're going to see more and more people just saying we don't need that shit. And eventually what's going to happen is that all the best names, all the best champions are going to be going after different titles, and they're going to ignore the WBC and hoe-ass Mauricio Sulaiman. They're going to ignore him. And then you're going to see, who got the WBC belt? Oh, yeah, that's some dude I never heard of. Who got the WBC belt? Oh, yeah, some young lion coming up looking for an opportunity. But the established champions, they all going to say F the WBC. F, like Reef J said, F that whole Mauricio Sulaiman. And the more it happens, the more it diminishes that belt. Because Mauricio Sulaiman forgot, and it's up to us, the fans and the fighters, to remind them. Fighters make the belts. Belts don't make the fighters. You need a reminder, and we're going to give it to you. We're going to make sure you feel that pain. Reef J, folks like Mauricio are why Zuffa has a lane to come in and take over. You're right. Look at this, Reef, so you can see that I know about that. Before Terrence Crawford and Canelo fought, my stance on Zuffa boxing was, it's going to take them like 2-3 years to catch on, because fighters are not going to want to go over there. But when they stripped Terrence Crawford of that title shortly after he beat Canelo, I say, you know what? This dummy don't even realize that he gave Turkey and Dana an alley-oop. He slam dunk that shit, my people. Yo, he gave him an alley-oop. You know why? There's no better recruiting tool that they have for young fighters coming up, for fighters who are inactive, for fighters who are looking for an opportunity. Mauricio Sulaiman looking at Dana and Turkey and their people, they looking at young fighters in the eyes, and they could tell them, bro, if they did that to Terrence Crawford after the biggest win of his career, what the hell you think they're going to do to your no-name ass? Nobody know you. What you think Mauricio going to do to you? What do you think? They did it to Crawford. The guy that got the biggest win of this generation, they did him dirty. What you think they're going to do to you? Nobody even know who the hell you is. So what did we see after they did that to Crawford? A lot more people been signing with Zuffa Boxing lately. It was after that that Jairo Pataya went to Zuffa. And a lot more people, you see Rayo Valenzuela, you see Edwin De Los Santos, you see a lot of fighters who have been inactive, a lot of fighters who are coming up, a lot of young prospects. There's already a prospect I saw out there who's like, yo, fuck the WBC. I don't want nothing to do with that shit. You ever seen that before? You ever seen fighters publicly say after WBC? But we see more and more of it now. We see more fighters like, nah, they not it no more. We good. That's it, they done. The WBC's cooked. Slowly but surely, they cooking themselves. Because they forgot, the fighters make your belt. Your belt don't make the fighters. As soon as they start saying after WBC, and they already started, I'm telling you, my people, the downfall of the WBC has already kicked off. And what triggered the response was when they stripped Terrence Crawford, and Buzz's response was like, after WBC, they was trying to get $300,000 from me. Everybody else took the same amount. The IBF, WBA, WBO, they was happy to take this amount. Because they know I'm the champion. They want me to wear their belt. They want to be associated with me. But Mauricio Sulaiman is bigger than everybody. So he's like, nah, we need $300K or we're going to strip you. Cool. You want to handle it like the WBC is a family business and a mob, and you a hoe, do you. But they started their own downfall when they did that to Terrence Crawford. John Parham, Jay Smith, do you know no criminal charges was even filed against Tank? I mean, right now I know he got that probation violation that he's dealing with. I don't know if that probation violation is going to lead to him having to sit in jail for a little bit. But I already told you, my brother, Tank ain't killed nobody. He didn't get caught with 50 kilos of coke. You know, I know that they put the U.S. Marshals on him and everything and all of that. But ultimately, Tank is going to be back. Anybody who think that Tank's career is over, they cooked. Tank Davis is going to be back. And I'm going to be the one to remind you, when Mike Tyson actually went to jail, and you know that it was for a supposedly rape that Mike Tyson went to jail, which is super questionable. He went to jail for what, a couple of years? When he came back, he was still the biggest star in boxing. Mike Tyson came back, and it was huge. His first fight back was crazy. Peter McNeely. It was huge when Mike came back. So, if Tank goes down for a year, he's only 30 years old. He could still come back at 31 years old in 2027 and be one of the biggest names in boxing. If they already violated him, probation, they already got a warrant out for him. I don't know if he turned himself in or not, but if they violate him and they send him in for 6 months or whatever amount of time, that doesn't end his career. These charges right here, that don't end his career. He ain't done nothing that's going to land him in jail for 10 years, 20 years, nothing crazy like that. So don't write Tank Davis off just because he's dealing with legal issues. Because if you write him off, you're going to be disappointed, I guess, when you're wrong and he does come back. You got the possibility of coming back and still being one of the biggest names in boxing. Just got to deal with the legal shit. But Mike Tyson, for the people who told me, oh, but he got convicted. You're right, he got convicted. But I might just ask you something. I mean, just ask you a question. Mike Tyson saw that girl in a beauty pageant. And he gave her, he got her number or whatever it was. He called her and asked her to come to his hotel room at like 12 o'clock at night. I don't know if it was 12 o'clock at night, 1 in the morning. And she went. Then she said she got raped. Now, what do you guys think If you're in a hotel room by yourself, some luxury hotel, and you call up a shorty, yo, you fine as hell, yo, come through, come to my hotel room. What do you think she's going to your hotel room for? What did that, I think her name is Desiree Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. What did she go to Mike Tyson hotel room for at 12 o'clock at night? I don't know, but usually when a woman go to a hotel room that you chilling in, she goes over there to smash. Call me crazy, but at midnight, you get in a transportation and you come to my hotel room? Call me crazy, but I would assume that you went there to get smashed. So Mike Tyson going to jail for rape when a woman went to his hotel room, to me, that's super questionable. But he came out of jail, and guess what? Was the biggest star in boxing right away. So if Tank Davis goes down for a year for this situation, he's still going to come out at 31 years old in his physical prime, and he'll still be able to perform and accomplish. Wes Dustin, being stupid don't mean you deserve to be forced. Bang. It was dumb, but you can't take the kitty. You see, Wes Dustin, here's the deal, though. And I agree with you. Being dumb don't mean that you should be forced to get banged. I agree with you 100% on that. But you think she just went there because she was dumb at 12 o'clock at night? You think Mike Tyson told her, yo, come to my room so we could do Bible studies together? Why do you think Mike Tyson invited her? A guy like Mike Tyson who would tell reporters to their face, if you want to interview with me, you got to fornicate with me. You want to interview with me, you got to suck cock, and then I'll give you an interview. Mike Tyson was never a guy. Wes Dustin, I know you follow Mike Tyson just like me. And I know you'll agree with me on this. Mike Tyson was never a guy to beat around the bush. Mike Tyson was never a guy to try to play nice. This is a dude who say what he wanted to say every time out. Mike Tyson is a guy who was the most straightforward guy that I ever seen. Like telling a reporter, you want to interview with me, you got to fornicate with me. Or you want to interview with me, you need to suck my kid's apple. Mike Tyson did that. So he called shorty out like, yo, you coming up here to suck kids out and get smashed. He told her what she was going up there for, and I believe that 100%. But here's the technique. Here's the technique. Go, go, go. What happens if a shorty tell you, okay, let's smash, and you smash it with her, right? And right before you bust, she like, no. You still buzz. You raped me because I said no right before you did that. You raped me. What if it's that happened? What if she went through with everything, but then after they was already doing it, and right before he done, no. I said no. You raped me. It's like, damn. Sound like a good way to set up a man, right? And I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened, but to me it's 100% suspicious that a beauty pageant goes to the heavyweight champion of the world at 12 o'clock at night just because she's dumb and just because she thought her and Mike Tyson was going to be reading the Bible. Mike Tyson, the most straightforward boxer I ever seen in my life. He like, yo, you gonna come? I believe Mike Tyson was like, yo, you gonna come up here, you gonna suck kids out, I'm gonna smash you, and then you're gonna go out of here with a couple of racks in your pockets. 5'9" whoop, hell nah. She probably had a boyfriend and rap. Come on, man. That to me was like a setup all the way. That was my perception. I don't got proof of anything, but my perception that Mike Tyson was set up. Wes Dustin, I'll do a backflip of that thing and bust mid-air. But I ain't taking no L's, Jason. Trust me, bro. If you're right about to, and she like, no. Your first reaction is gonna be, huh? By the time you really, that no registers, that's something that ain't never happened in your life. You're gonna be confused. You're gonna be the deer in the headlight. My peoples, we about to end this episode of Boxing for Breakfast. First thing I want to say, salute to everybody who tuned in this morning. Shakur Hands, John Parham, Wes Dussett, Ronaldo, Larry. Who else was in the building? Five Line Whoop was in the building. Eugene Johnson, salute family. The Assassin was in the building. Pat Pitts in the building. Toy Mafia, salute. Sai, the letter M, and everybody else. Oh, Reef. Reef, who reminded us that Mauricio Sulaiman is a hoe, too. My peoples, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of Boxing for Breakfast. I appreciate everybody who hit the like button. I appreciate everybody who didn't hit the like button. Fuck it, at least you guys tuned in. Appreciate everybody. You know what it is, man. Tomorrow, Boxing for Breakfast is going to be lit as it always is. 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. One love to everybody. I'm Jay Smith. I'm signing off. I'm going to see you tomorrow, my peoples. Bam! We out.